All right, episode number 2 of this unnamed product, wrapping up the week that was in the Dumb Zone. Hello, I'm your host, Blake Jones, and I will get you caught up on what happened on the podcast this week. Pretty long episode in this installment, so won't waste a lot of time here at the top. Just like last week, I'd like to build this out like a normal show, with a few one-off things in between that I want to make sure that you heard. So this week, we'll open up with the open. That includes Jake's wild Uber ride from over the weekend, as well as Dan's latest predicament with his landscaper. We get the backstory of where No Puppet came from. We digest the JJ Redick introductory press conference, which was filled with more comedy than was probably intended. Dallas Morning News' Sarah Hepola drops by to talk the new Netflix documentary on the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Jake issues an apology to one of the people involved in the documentary. Jake educates us on the kid in the NBA draft who may have been groomed by his Mormon babysitter. We hit the news, today in history, with a little Hawk Tuah and debate coverage to round us out. A lot to get to, but while I have you, hope to see some of you at our remote on Monday. We'll be at the VFW in Grapevine. Address is 221 Main Street, Grapevine. We'll be there from about noon to 3. Lunch will be served for all firefighters, paramedics, and police. Next week will also be a short week, as the show will be off Thursday and Friday for July 4th, but we'll leave you with 3 episodes as we'll go Monday through Wednesday next week. It looks like we're greenlit for Cowboys training camp. We plan to be out there from August 5th through the 14th, so a long trip for us, but if you're out California way and you'll be in the area during that time, hit us up at thedumbzone@gmail.com. That should be it for now, so let's kick off by going back to Monday, June 24th for our open that day, which involves Jake sitting in the back of an Uber as it's pulled over by South Lake Police. But first, joined by KJ Ellis, longtime friend of Jake and member of Washed Media, Dan explains why he chose a white landscaper.
So my question was, we have a white lawn guy now, and I like it because the same language is spoken by both of us, and just there's an understanding of everything that's going to happen. And I don't know, I just feel better about it. Also, just in that same way I've told you before, like I can't go get a pedicure.
Yeah.
Because I can't have like a Vietnamese lady kneeling at my feet cleaning them. It's just like feels so
slavey.
It feels slavey. Okay.
I'll just say it.
I would never go get a shoe shine at the airport. Let alone I don't wear shoes that need shined. But if I did, I would not have I don't want any man kneeling down cleaning my shoes. That seems really wrong, but especially a black guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then the same, it's just that same feeling if you're telling someone what to do with your lawn. Like, hey, I want you to look. It's 1,000 degrees out here. I could do it. I'm gonna go sit in there and have a drink. It's real air conditioning.
Get my computer out.
Give you a little bit of money to do it, but clearly that's the way it should be here. Like, I don't want anyone. I don't want another minority group working my lawn.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, does that make it racist for me to even say this? And so I remembered I was listening to KJ on a podcast quite some time ago where he was talking about the fact that he moved to Wisconsin. And one of the great things about it is, as a black man, he likes having a white guy cut his lawn. And so I really brought you on to tell me that I'm not racist because you have the same, or is this a thing where I can't say the same routine that Chris Rock says? Like, just because Chris Rock says it, I can't say it. Like, can I not say this, but KJ, you can say this?
If you're going to allow me to have the power to grant this as approvable, I approve it. I do think you should be honest that it's not the se comprende, like the initial conversation that you're worried about.
That is a part of it. That is a part.
Nobody wants to go out to be the guy correcting.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
That's the conflict is the real fear.
I mean, my wife is real particular about like everything, and she doesn't want these certain little trees that are growing up, but I want it weeded. But I can't really. I could tell the other guy. I could tell the other guy, look, wives, give him a little wink.
You don't have to.
Just don't pull any of these
esposos.
trees. I know it's ridiculous. These trees are going to die soon anyway, but I just got to appease her. And, yeah.
May I offer a rebuttal?
Go forth.
Because this reminds me of when, Peter Dinklage got mad at Snow White for casting dwarves.
Yeah.
Because Peter Dinklage then just took work away from dwarves.
Yeah. So this is the conflict. Like, you want
But now you're just
Caucasian.
So I'm taking work away
because
from
it makes you feel better, but you're taking work away
right.
from people.
And now you're giving your money to the whites.
Yeah.
Right. Am I just keeping the money
Okay.
in white people land?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as if like you also have an affinity for, I don't know, World War II memorabilia or anything like that. Like there are no other boxes being checked.
No, I don't.
You live in a fairly diverse community.
He has no priors.
Like there are no other signs that would lead one to believe anything problematic is going on. You don't have a
The
cut
community
couch in your
is
studio.
very diverse.
Yeah, this all checks out now.
All right.
Yeah.
Why did
Yeah.
we invite him on?
That's all I was.
It was your idea.
I
Oh, it was
appreciate
my
it.
idea. Damn it. All right, we have one more weekend check to get to. You want to hang during it, KJ? You have anything to
I'll
do?
hop. I'll let you fellas do it. I'm just honored to be in the presence of Dominic. So, I'll hang for another weekend. Check about that.
You're honored to be in the presence of Dominic. The hell?
I'm here.
If you grew up in the era that I grew up playing football and college football, we're not that much difference in age, but someone who lived the dream of going on to play at Florida State, like, yeah, you respect that. So again, here for it.
All right. Well, you don't need to pump up Dominic's ego anymore. That's plenty big.
Do you think you're going to get a?
Fair.
Do you think you're going to get a?
He's
an
trying to get into
NCAA
the-
back check.
He's trying to get into the
yes,
draft
I'll-
room.
Yeah, he wants to.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm
he
trying
wants
to
to
edge
draft.
Blake
Yeah,
out
hell
here.
yeah.
You know,
He
you
wants to
realize,
shed
like,
a cheer with Jake and hug and jump up and down.
Exactly. Like this is the pre-glazing, so then I can ask Dominic about his negative thoughts about Madison, Wisconsin, because he did trash the city
I
in the
did.
past. So like that's just setting it up.
Why'd you trash Madison?
I
play
mean,
there?
the same reason everybody would.
No, I think we were having a conversation about the Pac-12 going to the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Correct.
One of the times I was on, and I was like, I said something about like nobody wants to go to Madison, Wisconsin, or something.
Yeah. I don't think
it was
KJ. I
something.
don't think KJ did either.
Yeah.
Life finds a way. Life finds a way.
All right, Jake's weekend check.
Okay, so my weekend check is Saturday night. I was without kid. I had the kids most of the day Saturday. One kid all day. One kid maybe 70% of the day. And then I went and met up with our good friends Mike Soroy and Danny Bayless. Now, that's going to require an Uber.
not
even
Danny so much as the first guy.
Well, yeah, but for me, like, I'm not going to drive to Dallas, and drive back or whatever. So
Do you bring a toothbrush?
I did not. I came home.
Okay.
I was home
Oh.
on time.
That's right, Uber.
Yeah. And I mean, I had to pick the kids
That's
up.
the difference between having kids.
Yeah, I had to pick the kids up at like 8 a.m. So I came home and got up and did my business. But so I was leaving Southlake, the rent house, which is pretty close to where Dan lives now. And I'm not even really paying attention. I was looking at my phone. I think I was texting Danny and Soroy. And my Uber driver, I'll back it up a little bit. When I walked out, he was smoking a cigarette in front of my house, which is always kind of like, I mean, I don't care, but it's a play,
You're
You're
setting
setting the
out
tone.
a different vibe.
Yeah. So I get in the car. It smells like cigarettes, whatever.
KJ on?
Did he go?
Okay. Oh, all right. Sorry. My bad.
So
I just didn't know.
we're on 114. This is probably 10 minutes into the ride. And he's like, I can't really place the guy's race necessarily. We hadn't really talked, but I could tell that he didn't really speak English. It didn't seem like Spanish to me. But much like the thing that I've told you, my brother pointed out about gas stations, like sometimes or pretty much every time when you go into gas stations, like they're just on the phone the whole time. We've all noticed this, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who you're talking to.
The earpiece?
Huh?
The earpiece?
Sometimes no.
Speakerphone a lot of times.
And so he was on speakerphone and he was talking, and I don't know specifically what language he was speaking or the country of origin of the person he was talking to, but in the middle of that conversation, he's like, "Oh no," and I'm gonna do that the whole time, by the way. So YouTube, get ready. And he pulls over, and I'm like, "What the hell?" And I look in the back, and we've got a South Lake cop car, cop SUV, and the extremely hot cop, of course, who's like 26. Like I told you, they all are now, tattooed up.
Oh, dude.
He comes to my side, and he asks for the guy to roll down the driver's or the passenger side front window.
Okay, yeah.
You're on 114?
Mm-hmm. And it's pretty clear this guy doesn't understand what's happening. So I rolled down my back window, and the guy's got his flashlight out, and it's not dark. Like, it's like 8 o'clock, 8:15 at night, and he, starts talking to the guy, and he's like, "Hey, open this door," like the front passenger door. And the guy's like, I don't know. So I try to tell him, I'm like, "Dude, I'll open the door for you." So I open the front door, and the guy like kind of almost gets into the front passenger seat, and he's like, "I need your license and registration." Confused. Did not immediately comply. So he gets his wallet out, and he just hands him his wallet.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, whatever you need, like, I'll just hand this to you. And then he's like, "Okay, I also need your insurance." So he takes out an insurance card from the console, and the guy's like, "All right, I'll be back." So he goes back to his car, and at this point, another cop car pulls up. Now, to me, 2 cop cars means somebody's probably going to jail. That's not a one. They tell him that he had sped through a construction zone. They were like, "You were going 63, and he's like, "Speed limit 60. And they were like, "Yeah, but it's 40 right there." And he's super confused by this. He's like, 60.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, it's 40 right there." And he does not understand this at all. And so they get
speed trap-ish.
For sure. They get him out of the car. And now I'm thinking, all right, 2 police officers, you're out of the car. This dude's going to jail.
And you're, what's your play?
And I was texting Danny and Soroy, and I'm like, I don't know what I do.
You're in an Uber.
Yeah. So second cop comes up to my side, back seat, passenger side, and he's got the flashlight on me. So I just rolled down the window, and I was like, "Hey, dude, I'm just taking an Uber." And he was like, "Hey, can you get out for a second?" So I get out, and they just kind of like rummage through the back seat of this car. They have him like back at their car. And they're like, "All right, you can get back in." They didn't check my ID.
Doesn't seem like that's probably legal.
I mean, I just did it just because.
No, but rummaging through the car and all that.
Yeah.
And your gummy's kicking in right about now.
I was not impaired, honestly, at this point. Like, I think I had 1 beer before I left, but I was not. But I didn't. You
don't want to overdo it if you're going.
I also didn't have anything on me. So I was not like super worried about like getting out of the car. So I'm just like, all right, whatever. It is what it is. So I'm going to play you a little bit of audio.
Which is surprising you weren't more lippy.
Because I did start, I told you, I'm a changed man.
Okay.
I did start rolling a little bit so you can hear kind of how this interaction went.
Excuse me, is this one Highlander RAV4?
So right there he says like Highlander RAV4.
Okay.
And those are 2 different cars. So he
Wait, that's the cop?
No, that's the guy, and he's driving one of those cars, but his insurance says the other of those cars. Like, I think we were in a RAV4.
Yeah, okay.
But he has Highlander insurance.
Is the RAV4? No Highlander.
I know what you're saying. This is just insurance purposes, though. I know this is covered under insurance, but that license plate doesn't return to this car, is what I'm trying to tell you.
What?
So let me give this back to you.
They give them a
Mind
what?
if I open your door? Can I open
Now they're getting him out, and obviously he has no idea that he doesn't have to do this. And I thought about being like, bro, you definitely don't have to get out.
Because they're saying, can I do it?
Yeah.
This one.
Nope, it's fine. Just leave it closed. We don't have to do. Just stay in your vehicle a little longer. Sorry about the wait, sir. We'll get you out of here as soon as possible.
It's all good, man.
Okay.
Oh, he's apologizing to you, not to them.
Yeah.
We'll
go to clip 2 here. I believe this is when they came back, and I'm still very confused about what happened here because in my mind, this guy's got fake plates, right? You know, we've seen like those.
They're saying the plates don't match the car.
The plates don't match the car or the insurance.
Okay.
And we've heard a million stories like this, you know, in the last year or so that this is like a popular scam.
Yeah.
Back to the correct vehicle. So just give DMV a call. Okay.
Do you understand?
And he'll explain it all to you.
So that's why we were talking to him about his license plate. If he doesn't have questions, but
You can hear me there go. He doesn't understand.
Yeah.
Because like they're looking at me like this is the reason why we took him out of the car. And they're like, do you understand? I'm like, he doesn't understand.
Give DMV a call. Okay.
do you understand?
And he'll explain it all to you.
So that's why we were talking to him about his license plate. If he doesn't have questions, but
Narrator.
he just has to yield to traffic stops that are on the side of the road. That was the reason. That he
One
got
more
pulled
thing.
over. So
Clean that license plate off.
Yes.
It's dirty.
So
Very dirty.
I have changed.
Okay.
So now they're starting to say that the reason that they had an issue was that his license plate is physically dirty. So the first couple times that they were like, your plate's dirty, I'm like, oh, okay. It's hot.
Ah, okay,
you
yeah.
know, it's illegal. But it doesn't make any sense to me that they would have pulled this guy over
Like it's got mud.
just because it has mud on it.
License plate off.
Yes.
It's dirty.
So
Very dirty.
I have changed.
Okay.
Change.
Thank you very
Maybe
much.
change.
Don't do it now. Later on, drop your passenger off and then clean it off. Okay.
Okay.
Here you go, sir.
cheerleader?
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
Appreciate you, brother.
نه خلاص چی میگم عمر؟
And now he's been on the phone with another person.
He's still talking?
Yeah, the whole time.
Oh, they were?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Play that back, because what's he saying? What
don't,
language?
I don't know. I mean,
چی میگم؟
thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
Appreciate you, brother.
نه خلاص چی میگم عمر؟
Okay.
That's not Spanish, yeah.
No, it's not Spanish. Now,
So does this, they let him go?
they wrote him a ticket.
Oh, he got a speeding ticket?
Yes.
Oh, man.
But they didn't write him a ticket for any sort of like registration or plates violation. But they did write him a ticket.
I wonder if they let him go if you're not in the car.
That's honestly like
they know
when
he
I
needs-
tweeted about this, a couple people were like, they just didn't want to mess with having to deal with you. Like, do they have to take you somewhere? Do you have to call an Uber from the side of 114? Dude, we are in.
That's
like,
your white privilege. They knew that it would inconvenience you, the white man.
We are.
Although you look a little, you could be some other
What is
stuff
that?
too. I don't know. I'm just saying. If you just said you had something else in you, everybody'd be like, yeah, okay.
Fair. But we are like there are cars whizzing past us. Like we are in it's not a suburban street. We did not pull off onto somewhere else. So that might have been part of their thought too. But again, to me, two cops, they get the guy out of the car. They had him out of the car for probably 20 minutes. I'm thinking, what happens next? Like they got him out.
Yeah.
So I tried to do a little post game with him.
Oh.
You know what happened?
Yeah.
What happened?
What?
Was it a registration thing or what?
No, it's the license plate is no clean. You clean is
It wasn't clean?
the yeah.
Like it was just dirty?
Yeah.
Okay. That was it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty much it.
No chance.
That's what I'm saying.
No chance.
That's what I'm saying. And then he dropped me off when I met up with Danny and Sroy, and he was just like, sorry.
Did you give him a nice tip to help pay for that?
I did. Oh, and there one other funny part, because I wasn't rolling at this point. When they got me out, second cop, also hot, also tattooed. I was like, man, I hope this doesn't impact my rider rating.
Funny.
And he was like, "What does that mean?"
Oh, get a sense of humor.
He didn't find that funny at all. So yeah, that's that's what happened to me on Saturday night. It added a good 45 minutes to my drive. Yeah, then I had a good time with Roy and Danny, but they were like, where were you? I'm like, man, you don't want to know.
Yeah, I feel so bad for that dude, the driver.
To be honest with you, I thought, based on the way things were going, I thought he might have been like illegal. And I don't know what that looks like, but either a stolen car or, something did not seem like it was on the up and up. And he spoke 5% of English.
Yeah.
So he had no clue what they were saying to him. So the next time an Uber driver pulls up to your house with a cigarette like half sawed off in front of your house, just know things might take a turn.
KJ, how do you feel if this was you or I sitting in the back seat? How would that have gone? Very similar?
Well, I can tell you about the one and only time I've been in a jail in Dallas, Fort Worth was pretty similar. It was like, hey, these license plates don't go to this car. And I'm like, I bought the car yesterday. I don't know what to tell you. And they're like, yeah, well, tell it to Highland Park police officer. I'm like, okay. So yeah, would not go to the same.
You didn't drink with Soror that night?
No, you didn't. You didn't get to go. No, but you have told me that breakfast there, pretty solid.
They did, Bubba's. If you're familiar with Bubba's, right off the SMU campus, they hit you up with they give you a phone. And they're like, call anybody. Take it back to your cell. They leave the door open. What's your order? It was top tier breakfast. Wow. So shout out to, I guess it'd be University
So
Park.
the pluses and minuses of driving through Highland Park while black.
Exactly. Free stay and a cinnamon roll in the morning. The amount of resolve in the guy's voice when he was just like, yeah, it's just my license plate was dirty was pretty sad.
Yeah.
He's like, yep, that's it. What else you know?
Yeah. People get pulled over for that all the time.
Yeah, I'm like, why did they get this guy out of the car if he just had mud on his license?
No chance.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's so they could check the car.
Yeah, and
like they did.
And they did, and they pulled and they opened up like his glove compartment.
Where were you exactly? Because it doesn't sound like Southlake. If you started heading towards Dallas, you would be out of Southlake in about half a second.
Well, from where we are, like I'm leaving from Kimball, and it wasn't long.
Okay.
I might have said 10 minutes, but it was less than 5 minutes.
Okay.
It was right there. It was like right at like Northwest Highway.
Movie theater.
Basically, yes. Like right there.
Okay.
And then they
wow.
They pulled him over. I don't know. Like
yeah.
I don't know what the normal I don't know what would have happened if they would have arrested him.
You would have been sitting there and they would have called a cab, or they would have driven you to, off the highway.
So now I have to get in a cop car?
What if you showed up in a Southlake police car?
See, they were looking for a reason to arrest him, and they actually just couldn't find one.
It felt like that.
Yeah.
But they would have checked your pockets like before they put you in the back.
He was being very cool. All they could find is a dirty license. They couldn't find anything in the car. They couldn't arrest. What would they have arrested?
I was this close to bringing a vape.
And workers aren't present. Isn't there like a whole like this is the speed limit, or I guess it's the fine will double if people are present. But
I don't even know where you're talking.
Weekend,
like I'm trying to think of where there's not major construction over there.
It's not even major construction. I think it's just like they put up the sign at night on the weekend because anything that they do, that's when they do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But no one was out doing stuff.
I never felt like anyone was at risk.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. But yeah, shout out to my dude.
All right.
I guess he made it.
Well, I'm sorry, Dan. We may have to add this to the community list. Maybe not as diverse as we were going to hope for earlier, but maybe just as oppressive as one might imagine. So you add this to the landscaper list, and a lot of knocks against Southlake right now.
All right. Well, what are you going to do?
This was a busy week for us as 3 of our 4 shows were videoed. So if you're into watching your favorite podcast sit there while a camera is pointed at them, check out our YouTube page. Okay, if you're somewhat new to the Dumb Zone and you don't really understand our infatuation with the phrase no puppet, Jake explained where it came from to Sarah Hepola on our Thursday episode.
I do have one question. What's no puppets mean?
Oh, yeah, we forgot to do that. So it's kind of a long story, but back in 2016, in the aforementioned Hillary-Trump debates, they started yelling at each other about who was on the take with Vladimir Putin. And she said something like, yeah, well, of course, Putin loves you because he would love nothing more than a puppet in the White House. And as he's saying that, Trump starts going, no puppet, no puppet, you're the puppet, no puppet. And it's electric. And then I just started saying it
From
all the time.
everything I see has no respect for this person.
Well, that's because he'd rather have a puppet as president of the United
puppet,
States.
no puppet.
And it's pretty clear.
You're the puppet.
And then I just started like TC and I used to call like Cowboys games live, kind of like what we do with our watch parties. And we eventually stopped doing this, but the first year we did it, we would get fucked up. Like he would ingest whatever, I would drink whatever.
Yeah.
And it was a night game, and so it's probably like 11 o'clock at night. And the Cowboys had like a really big like comeback, walk-off division win, and I was borderline, Sarah, blackout. But I had a headset on.
I have trademarked that term, so I appreciate
I was
you.
not on top of anyone.
Well, no.
But I did have a headset on, and we've been drinking whiskey all night, and the Cowboys won, and I just started drunkenly yelling, no puppet.
They're putting the chains down. No use for them. Rest of this game.
Holy
Fade Des Bryant. Scrambling around. Finding men.
Yes! Cowboys win! Cowboys win! Cowboys win! Yes! You're the puppet! You're the puppet!
No puppet, you f***ing puppet!
He's
you
the puppet!
Puppet! You puppet! You puppet! Woo! You puppets! No puppet! No puppet! Spalding! 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 Holy!
Merry Christmas, Philadelphia.
Merry Christmas, Eagles!
Eagles!
So that's the drop that we play. Is me just no puppet, no puppet.
So that's actually you saying that?
Yeah, but he slows it down.
Super drunk.
And he slows it down to make it even worse, which is completely unnecessary because I'm
never
already
done that.
No.
So it's not quite that bad, but it's bad.
Oh my
No puppet, no puppet, no puppet.
Yeah, there we go.
gosh, this has so much more depth and meaning now.
Yeah.
No puppet, no puppet, no puppet, no puppet.
And it's the name of our
It's the
company.
name of our company.
Uh,
We're no puppet.
Because we are not puppets
yeah,
to the man.
Yeah, that's the story.
that's a great story.
Yeah.
No Puppet Productions is cooler than the Dumb Zone, right? I think so. All right, let's slide into some sports and travel back to Tuesday, June 25th, as former Ticket Minion and current member of the Ben and Skin Show, Kevin Turner, joined us at our studio downtown. This was a video day and also a Patreon day, so if you're a Patreon subscriber, and why wouldn't you be, the private link for subbies is at the bottom of the run sheet of June 25th. Here is audio from the JJ Redick introductory press conference and a monumental moment for the show.
How about we start with JJ Redick?
Let's do it. Blake and I cut the whole thing up. He took the first half. I took the second half. He sat up there for 50 minutes, which is probably normal. I'm distracted by the thing that we've mentioned 100 times, which is that their GM is named Rob and also looks like Rob Lowe.
Oh, does he?
Rob
I never
Pelinka?
noted I never really noted what he looks like.
Dude, look it up.
I am good.
You don't think so, Blake?
I absolutely think so.
He looks exactly like Rob Lowe.
I guess now that you mention it, I was more.
Okay, so I want to tell Dan this real quick. This guy might be brilliant. I don't know if you're familiar with his background. He used to be an agent.
I am familiar with that.
Okay, he was Kobe's agent. This is how he talks all the time. he sounds like Gavin from Silicon Valley.
Oh, yeah.
Where he says things like, in industry, when we embark on this sea of sameness. This is just how he talks all the time. And it's really annoying, but I could see how you could sell this to people.
Yeah, only that not all, but many great stories are written with, well, but they did it in such a different way, and
sure,
that wasn't the way it was done, and now everybody's doing it like this.
Yeah, and I don't know if he gets hired without Bob Myers being very successful with Golden State Warriors, because Bob Myers was an agent at, I believe, CAA. If not, then one of the bigger agencies, and that's around the time that they hired Pelinka.
Yeah, I guess I meant not the Pelinka hire, but the JJ
hire.
Like,
but they're both kind of outside the box.
Yeah, the Pelinka hire I questioned from the get-go. It seemed very odd.
Yeah, especially since Magic was still there. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, and then they were at odds, and that's why Magic that, and because he wanted to tweet about different things. Don't you remember him saying that?
All right, so let's go a little bit out of order because he's explaining how younger players in the younger generation learn differently than they used to. Is this a GM of a basketball team, or is this a guy at a conference trying to push like the new tablet?
JJ and I have had some really robust conversations around innovation and sort of even gamifying player development.
Bingo.
If you think about a 20-year-old basketball player today and maybe a 20-year-old basketball player, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years ago, the modiums of learning are completely different. I mean, we all probably, some of us have kids, we have nephews, nieces. Kids and athletes are learning in new and innovative ways. So we've talked about how do we translate Coach Redick's offensive system to app-based or a phone-based deliverable where players can be buying into a philosophy and learning it in a way that meets today's young player. And I think innovation's got to be at the core of that. We have a vision for, to your point, of hiring out his support staff in sort of this tech, bullpen way of getting innovative minds to help bring his basketball strategy and bring his basketball philosophy to life in a way that our players can grasp it, learn it, and actually grow their basketball IQ.
God.
Modiums of learning.
Yeah, gamify.
And now you have to have app-based or phone-based deliverables.
These kids, these kids and their phones.
I mean, they already watch film on a tablet. That's not that
and
new,
I think, though,
new of an idea.
I think the point that coaches have always said is there's 3 different ways of learning, watching, doing, or I can't remember the other. I'm not a coach. But the point is, not everybody really learns the same way.
Yeah, you meet people where they are.
Sometimes, like me, I have to write something down. And then that makes it stick in my head more than if I just read it. Some people need to be screamed at to be motivated.
It's true.
Some people that would just
turn
them the other way, and you need to kind of baby them, and that's the stuff that I feel like JJ Redick has no idea what he's getting into. Yes, he might. He's known as analytics strategy guy. How much really can you change things in the NBA? Or in
you can't make LeBron younger.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, how much X's and O's?
Yeah.
You do want to have strong X's and O's, but how much can that? I mean, look at Popovich, great coach, but if he doesn't have the right players, then they're not going to be a good team. So how much,
and the expectations are super high, which probably some of this audio gets into. But as Dominic said yesterday, it's just wild that his first job is head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers.
And he
the Nets have no history
talking about that,
huh? Like the Nets have no history,
right?
So when they hired Steve Nash, it's okay,
that was a great experiment,
sure.
And hey, let's just try and get 2 big superstars. let them run everything, get their friend as a coach. It was very interesting no matter what. And they were actually pretty good. Well, they actually had to fire Nash to get there, right?
Yeah.
But, they did prove getting the two big superstars. Now, they were kind of headed perhaps for the NBA Finals that year. They were
toe on a line.
Was Nash the coach for that?
No. He had
No.
been fired before that, right?
Really?
Yeah, I'm almost positive.
Okay.
Like the end coach for Kyrie and Durant?
Yeah, because that was the year that Kyrie was hurt, which I thought was Nash, but I mean, I could be wrong.
Didn't the Nets do Jason Kidd right out of his career 10-plus years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I guess, and Jake's point is, just some spare franchise doing it is one thing.
The Lakers. Yeah, Jacques, they fired Steve Nash seven games into that season.
Into the season, they ended up being really good.
Yeah, they had a
And
pretty
that's
good.
when Kyrie.
Wow.
Yeah, Jacques Vaughn went 43 and 32. So
Kyrie wanted
better.
a max, and they weren't willing to give him that mid-season. And that's when Kyrie said he wanted out.
Yeah.
So Pelinka was asked, did the podcast help Redick get hired?
Even if it wasn't direct conversations with LeBron, how, if it did that podcast factor into the process of the interview and all of it?
I think at the core of a really good NBA head coach, one of the core necessities, especially with today's player, is communication. And I think JJ's one of the best basketball communicators out there, period. Hard stop. Anyone that's
Hard stop
paid
is a
attention to
bingo.
what he's
Bingo
done
for
and
sure.
built and his interaction with players and coaches and executives, he's special at that.
Let me translate. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had a big
For
deal
sure.
to do with it. Just like broadcasting has a big deal to do with certain guys getting to the Hall of Fame or just staying, top of mind. I think it was huge.
By the way, we did mess one thing up, and I knew that as we were talking about that, we did. Nash did coach them to the conference semis in the year that they lost to Milwaukee. But then if you recall, the next year they got swept.
Okay, so he was the coach for the toe game.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, the toe game.
The
Yeah.
toe game. Okay.
No,
I'm just making sure.
I just meant when Kyrie left. Nash
Yeah,
was
yeah.
no
Oh,
longer.
yeah.
I'll jump in here real quick with one of mine, Blake, because he was asked about the podcast. And that's on sports. Am I up, Rob?
Yep.
Okay. Audio box.
Just as bears, it's relevant to this discussion. You were one of the first players to have a podcast while he was active. What's going to happen with Mind the Game? You're going to be the first coach to have a podcast while he's active.
That's not the name of it.
Well, that's the one he does with LeBron.
Okay.
Old Man and the Three, which I contend is one of the greatest names for a podcast ever.
Yeah, it's great.
That's the other one. This one, Mind the Game, is the one he does with LeBron.
You're going to be the first coach to have a podcast while he's active.
Oh, the media loved that one, didn't they?
No, I am, for the time being, and hopefully it's a very, very long time, I am excommunicated from the content space. So there would be no podcast. We'll do something when I have a breather from what we have coming up. I'm going to be drinking out of a fire hose for the next month. But at some point, we'll just do something for all the people that listened, and we'll have a small little video. But I'm done with podcasting for now.
He sounds sad.
It sounds like he was told he was done with podcasting.
Oh, there's no doubt that Genie or Pelinka, one of them said, there's no way, dude.
It wouldn't be a bad idea.
Well,
he could obviously, it's just like if you work for the team and you're not really giving your true hot sports opinions on everything, but it would be interesting, like a media availability type thing.
I thought we were being innovative.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought we were gamifying.
Yeah.
I mean, Draymond does it.
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
not the
if
coach,
active
but-
players can do
Yeah.
it.
I did think about this, though.
But I guess that's just to deflect criticism.
Yeah. I thought about this, like a la when Shane got fired from SNL. Are there people going back through the Old Man and the Three and seeing if, like, Redick was ever super critical of
Well,
any of the players on his
D'Angelo
own
Russell
roster?
sucks.
Yeah, like Anthony Davis just can't win a title. You can't win with this guy.
I guess I haven't listened to much of it. I've only listened like when he had Luca or KP on or something.
Yeah, I mean, I listen sporadically.
It doesn't seem like he's a rip players guy.
No, he's not, but he does offer opinions.
Yeah.
We all have them.
We all have opinions.
Yeah. So I just wonder if anybody's going to go back through and see like if he ever said, you just can't win with Rui Hachimura playing big minutes.
Well, the answer is of course.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's problematic for him potentially.
So I pulled this clip because he says that being a broadcaster and a podcaster has helped put him in this moment, which is true. But after this answer, I want to give you just a thought because it's not the traditional path, right? His growth to being where he is.
Honestly, the last 3 years have been invaluable in preparing me for this moment. Being able to connect to players, talking to them on the podcast, being in coaching interviews with ESPN, calling games, analyzing the game in 3 different formats. All of that has helped prepare me to be an NBA head coach.
It's a little ridiculous, right? However,
3 different formats.
I immediately
You
thought
did it on YouTube and on an audio podcast?
YouTube, big deal.
Well, I think he was meaning like at the game, post game with ESPN, and then a podcast form. That's what I took it as.
All right.
But
still,
okay. What about the Spolstras of the world that started cutting up film?
Yeah.
At wee hours of the night.
Yeah.
Getting on a plane, traveling, sitting on the end of a bench, and then moving up a seat, and then moving up a seat. That's the grind, not this guy. The traditional assistant coaches and head coaches have to laugh at that.
Yeah, he sits down with a glass of wine with the most famous athlete on the planet and records for an hour.
Right.
Yeah, and he's booked a lot of guys and just talked about basketball and life.
But it obviously helped.
Oh, it helped him get this job. Will it help him succeed in this job is the question.
He talks a good game.
Oh, yeah. No, you can see why he got hired.
Yeah.
And why a lot of guys get hired is because they interview so well.
Would people be more on board if he wasn't on TV every day for the last year?
No.
And just doing podcasts?
No.
What you're arguing with
no,
Stephen
the
A.
TV
Smith
thing
every day.
upped his factor, right?
And I think the other part of it, too, and Dan alluded to this earlier, in his TV appearances, he became the guy who defended the player. Like Stephen A. would be ripping somebody, and JJ would say, you don't understand this. You haven't been in the room.
Played, yeah.
Yeah, and he went with the plumber thing of, Havlicek played against
Yeah,
plumbers.
he defends today's player.
Yeah.
So, today's player might realize that as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So my last clip, he does talk a big game until he has to talk about the end of the bench guys who he's got to learn the names of.
How are you going to sort of thread the needle of the late stage of potentially LeBron's career with the transition into whatever's next?
I think the first thing is with any player, Anthony Davis, LeBron James,
the other ones on the team,
Austin Reeves, any player on the roster.
That's about how far I get. That would be my exact answer.
I mean, we're going to win through Anthony Davis and LeBron and
sometimes
got to see
in his head. He's like, who else?
Got to see who else we got, but I'm confident that we can win a championship.
Really calling either games in the playoffs, so it's been a minute since I looked at their roster.
Would you have done the way you memorized the WNBA coaches the night before the?
You have to
just
show up and recite it.
Any player on the roster.
Any, like Steve. Is there a guy named Steve on the roster?
Okay, I did think this was kind of cool, and I've heard him talk about this before. He was had a really specific workout that he did over and over and over and over because he didn't have a ton of skills outside of shooting. So he would create a 10 spot on the floor map and take 200 shots from each one of those spots every day.
Okay.
Whereas Luke is out there field goal kicking a basketball from half court for his preparation, and it works for him.
But you see guys, they always say he looked for his spot.
Yeah, no, and JJ was a spots guy.
Kyrie does that maybe.
I think for sure. Every spot is Luka's spot.
Yeah.
But I thought hearing him talk about this was kind of cool.
JJ, what are you most curious to learn about just the process and art of coaching, like as you go through this year? My first challenge. No,
that one didn't really hit.
I have, going back the last year, I've always been a visual person. As a player, I relied on visualization. In a workout in high school, I had a free period, and on game days, I would walk through the gym, and I would look at certain spots on the floor, and I would visualize coming off screens and where the defense would be, and the angle which I shot the ball, the arc on the ball, and I've visualized every scenario.
I think that's cool. Just to imagine 16-year-old JJ Redick walking through at lunchtime, and he's like, okay, I'm going to stand at every spot because we play tonight, and I'm just going to think through this.
Yeah, it doesn't always translate because I used to visualize
striking people out.
Yeah, home run or like taking a curveball to the right field, and then I would just flail away at it.
Yeah, this is like your Ted Williams thing though, where he was just a naturally gifted hitter that couldn't explain how he did it.
Yeah, it's interesting too when he asks him, like, play the very beginning of that, unless you just paused. And
JJ, what are you most curious to learn about just the process and art of coaching?
See, that to me is something you would think if you were hiring a head coach at the highest level, they would have already figured that. Like, it was my criticism for Nico Harrison. You don't want to hire someone that has to screw up a few times and then learn. Like, this is a high stakes here. Oh, I'm sorry, I made this $40 million mistake. Well, I'll learn from that. Like, you kind of want to.
Yeah, but sometimes
maybe you want to be on the bench with a different mindset than a player. And I know people said he was like a coach, all that kind of stuff that they say about white players. But does he, having been an assistant, having been whatever, just in the group of, I'm working on a play, an out of bounds play whatever it is. You don't want it to be costing them games right now, and it will.
Yeah,
but
it might.
The situation does matter because Nico is stepping in after the Mavs had just extended KP for no reason, and JJ Redick is then taking over for Darvin Ham, who
LeBron hated,
a horrendous coach.
Yeah, that's true.
So
too.
Learning on the fly, given prior. The situation that he came into may not be bad.
Yeah, and it's funny too because sometimes, and I'm just spitballing here. I can't think of any schools that might have done this. You hire a guy who's actually a championship level coach for your football team, and then you have to pay them $75 million to leave, even though they were already.
So this hat is really going to affect you all day.
It's all he's thinking about.
I'm wearing my Aggie hat.
Okay, so this one is funny to me because you see this with Luka. You don't see it as much as far as like Slovenian reporters, but they will send Spanish reporters, because he played in Madrid. So Rui Hachimura is of Japanese descent. So they have to send this person.
Hi, Coach. Yeah, I work for Kyodo News, Japanese news wire. So I want to ask 2 questions about Rui Hachimura.
This is JJ Redick's intro press conference. Literally no one is thinking about Rui at this thing.
But you're right.
But they have a Japanese player.
So yes, we're going to write a story about him and then what the new coach said about him.
Also, do you think if you're sorry, if you're not
Could
English,
this end up like Ron Washington?
If you're not English first language, do you go with the 2-part question? Or do you think that possibly we're going to...
She's got a lot of confidence.
First one is, obviously, roster is not set yet. However, how do you want to use his strengths on the court? And second one, he hasn't made it official yet, but in my opinion, he's probably playing for the Japanese national team in the Paris Olympic. If he does, would this affect your plans for Rui?
I'll start and then hand it off to Coach.
So Blink is just
The
going to
guy
jump
that
in
actually
there. And,
knows the roster has to answer.
Yeah, this is his first challenge as head coach. Let's
Yeah.
not let Rob get in and
Yeah.
take it over.
I mean, I respect it because I can't speak another language effectively at all. And
Yeah, no, she did a pretty good job at that.
she did. It's just funny to me that these outlets feel like they have to send a reporter.
Boy, the budget they must have.
I guess. Like Iztalk's flying on his own dime. It's not like he's over here because they sent him. And then this is our ender. This is the one that went pretty viral. And I guess this is just going to be a thing now. We talked about this with Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns, where we're just going to curse at press conferences.
Hey, JJ, Claire DeLune with The Guardian. First of all, sorry, right in front of you.
I don't know. I really don't know. We got a little pilly there.
A little Layla?
Yeah.
Hey, JJ, Claire DeLune with The Guardian. First
I don't know.
Let's hear.
I don't know. No idea. No idea.
Yeah, I want to look her up. So The Guardian.
Yeah, but she's not British.
It's Claire.
So I thought that was kind of
Claire?
weird. It's Claire
Interest in
something, but
federal interest.
yeah.
Hey, JJ, Claire DeLune with The Guardian. First of all, sorry, right in front of you. First of all, happy birthday.
Claire Rousset, Claire Keegan, Claire Patak, Claire Hooper.
But you're also going to love.
Doesn't sound like any of those.
No, it doesn't. Not even close. It doesn't even sound like there's a last name attached.
No, but I thought she was attaching her last
Guardian.
name.
Like
no one. Yeah, no one's saying.
But also, I paused it during a portion
Cher.
you're going to love. You may recall from yesterday's Today in History. Happy birthday, JJ Redick.
Hey, JJ, Claire DeLune with The Guardian. First of all, sorry, right in front of you. First of all, happy birthday.
Got to do a happy birthday, huh?
Who'd you say?
Claire DeLune.
DeLune?
Claire DeLune.
A lot of confusion in here.
That's when like an 8-year-old doesn't want to tell you their last name.
Yeah.
Okay. DELUNE is a musician, podcast host, and avid NBA lover, according to her bio for The Guardian.
You get credentialed for that?
All
You
right.
get credits?
Well, we couldn't even get credentialed for the Tyson thing.
Hey, JJ, Claire DeLune with The Guardian. First of all, sorry, right in front of you.
All right.
First of all, happy birthday. Second of all, what misconceptions or concerns about you that you've heard in the last few weeks are you the most looking forward to dispelling?
Is that
when you're the coach?
I want to hear it all again.
What are you excited about Dallas for being here?
It's very much the Rajon Rondo press conference. Yes.
Hey, JJ, Claire DeLune
she
with The
is.
Guardian. First of all, sorry, right in front of you. First of all, happy birthday. Second of all, what misconceptions or...
And does that require a first of all? Like the
How about
Japanese lady did a better job of posing a 2-track topic.
I thought it was interesting because I listened to a bunch of this too, just how many people congratulated him on getting the job.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty common now, but I
Is
agree
it?
with you. It's gross. Yeah.
If you were just in a press conference with the newly elected president, do
My
you do that?
God.
Okay, I think that's a great question she asked.
Yeah, that's a pretty good question.
She's all hot.
She nailed it.
Second of all, what misconceptions or concerns about you that you've heard in the last few weeks are you the most looking forward to dispelling when you're the coach?
It's a valid question, and I've certainly heard everything. It's been a really interesting 6 weeks or so, just in terms of being part of the engagement farming industry. It's been really interesting. However, I don't really have a great answer for your question because I really don't give a fuck. Honestly, I want to coach the Lakers. I want to coach the team. I don't want to dispel anything. I don't. I want to become a great coach.
Did someone just yell,
Yes,
I love that?
They sure did.
Like someone in the media, I love that.
You think it's all media, or did they let some season ticket holders in there?
Yeah,
I
you're
wonder.
probably right. Yeah, I mean, that's how Lie lady ends up in Rick Carlisle's press conference. And I know there were
wonder.
some players
Not
there,
that you
too.
didn't
But,
play a great game.
but yeah, you can just hear the media.
Being part of the engagement farming industry. It's been really interesting. However, I don't really have a great answer for your question because I really don't give a fuck. Like, honestly.
Whoa.
I want to coach the Lakers. I want to coach the team. I don't want to dispel anything. I don't. I want to become a great coach in the NBA, and I want to win championships, and I want my players to maximize their careers. That's all I fucking care about.
Oh, a little cherry on the top.
Yeah.
Let's toss another one on there. Just
We're doing
in case
that
you
now.
didn't get me. Yeah, we're NBA coaches are now saying the F word in press conferences.
Yeah.
In opening press conferences.
Yeah.
This isn't I'm mad after a tough loss
referees
or
or
something
something like
happened.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Setting precedent moving forward. Don't carry my press conferences live.
Yeah. And plenty of people were.
Yeah.
It's funny how he says I don't like, but he did open this press conference with like, "Hey, I'm this is my first job ever. Have you heard that?" Like, obviously responding to, not quite Jason Kidd level, but responding to what's been said.
The
online.
conversation, the discourse.
He responded to coaching his fourth grade team or whatever.
Yeah.
That was a part of an answer.
Like, he's so online. Like,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think
that's been
Jason
his
Kidd
job.
is fed what's online. I think J.J. Redick sees it all himself.
Yeah.
Which is different.
It is different.
Because he sees everything.
Like you.
I'm Mr. Online for sure.
And Micah. I mean, this is something we're going to have to get used to.
He had, like, I don't fault him for taking the job. Like, the meteoric rise of J.J. Redick is incredible. That he was I don't know. I never thought of him as, like, how good of a player was he at his peak? I just thought he was just some guy. Could shoot. But he's a guy.
Mean, he wasn't a starter until Doc made him one, but he was on some pretty good teams. And he was a starter on pretty good teams, and he was an elite shooter. Really, probably what helped him as far as public profile was he played at Duke. And everybody hates one white player on Duke every year.
Yeah.
And he was that guy for a while.
In that Clippers team. I mean, that was a pretty...
Yeah, they were electric. It was Lob City,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think of him that much on that team.
No, but if he played in Detroit...
And he was also on some really, really good Magic teams. Like, that team should have won a championship with Dwight Howard.
And really, he doesn't stand out in my head, though, that he was a part of that. Maybe he does to you.
Yeah, I don't know. He's certainly never been like a headline player. And also, I don't know if this is risky because I don't know if we have the production ready. And it's probably already on the list. But also, Deadspin had a story back when he was in college that he had an abortion contract with his girlfriend.
A contract? Explain that.
Redick has agreed that once Lopez has terminated said pregnancy and has provided medical proof of said termination satisfactory to Redick, included but not limited to direct access to her medical files and records of the clinic, that, like, basically he wanted her to get an abortion, but he made her sign a contract that said, you got to get an abortion. Like, you can't just tell me, hey, I'll do it. Like, there was a contract presented.
Like
and I believe he
pre-sex?
No,
Wait.
Post. What do we have here?
In the annals of time, celebrities have done some pretty fucked up shit. Jake has taken it upon himself to catalog those dalliances and short-sighted events deep inside the recesses of his tiny ferret brain to never be forgotten and be accessible at the snap of a finger. You have now witnessed Kempspin number 500.
Wow. What a moment, Kevin. KT, you got to be here for this?
Hold on, here comes the cake.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let us never forget the abortion contract.
Yeah. I really hope that one wasn't already on the list.
Nope.
Hawk Tuah is in there, huh?
He did.
Yeah, so I think the case was basically that she got pregnant. And
So exciting.
500th Kempspin.
Wow.
JJ Redick.
What a moment.
She got pregnant, and then he wanted her to have an abortion, and they had to pretend like they were still together per this contract. And this is like back in like maybe 2007, 2008. It was a big Deadspin story whenever he started popping off a little bit in the NBA. And it was bizarre. It was a very weird story, but I'm really happy we got to all experience this together.
That's a really good Kempspin for number 500.
Yeah, it's in the news.
That's top
and no
notch.
one brings this up at all anymore.
Top notch.
And I
Nice
think
job.
he might have denied some of it, but there are court documents indicating that this contract did exist.
We have the signature.
Yeah.
Man. Wow. If only you were at that press conference.
Yeah. What if the Japanese lady would have... How would that have sounded, Kevin?
Oh, we can do it on the internet, right? No.
He will fail. I mean, this is going to fail.
I think he's going to do it.
Kevin was thinking about it.
Yeah.
No, he was getting into character. I think we should hear what he has to say.
I think I still have a job. I'm good. Now, if I had been fired.
Yeah.
What would that have sounded like?
Well,
he's probably going to fail because he's going to have to play Bronny 18 minutes a night.
Because it's the whole LeBron. I mean, probably anybody who takes that job is going to fail.
However, I will say
if
this.
your goal is winning a championship.
I will say this. They have the ability to be reborn like the phoenix rising from the ashes better than just about any team in the NBA.
Why?
Because they're the Lakers.
Well, that doesn't make – I don't know, though.
I used to say that, and you and I would argue with Bob about this, and then he ended up being right. Just because, okay, this guy's available, they just want to go play for the Lakers. So –
yeah, but they're in
God
such
willing,
cap
it's
hell
not Luka.
With the
you can figure that out.
No one wants to go into the second apron anymore.
Right.
Or that's a new bit.
Yeah.
And the second apron, because I heard Windhorst talking about this. Are you very familiar with the whole?
Familiar enough, but I'm just saying
it's
that
kind
at
of a
some
hard
point
cap.
LeBron is going to be gone, and so will his $50 million a year.
And already, though, they barely have any draft picks.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same bit with the Mavs.
Yeah.
Like they are what they are now, and when they're not, there's going to be a pretty tough period. And I think they're kind of like just trying to cling to anything. And you know, they're debatably not a playoff team in the West.
Yeah.
They're a bubble team for sure. And LeBron will be 40. And he's great. He's the best 40-year-old ever. He certainly beats Jordan in that. Right? Is there any argument about that? He's better than Jordan at age 40? He's better than Kareem was at age 40? He's better whoever was age 40?
No, his longevity is unparalleled. There's no doubt about it. But Anthony Davis is 30. It's not like he's young either.
That's an old 30.
That is an old 30.
Boy, yeah, that surprises me. He feels 35. But he had to take the job because when it fails, he will not only be able to come back, obviously, you can then podcast and get right back to ESPN or whatever network, and you'll be one of the top analysts. Because that's how it is. But even when he will get maybe even another shot, even if this fails. Because it might be the old, well, that was his first time, and he learned he made a lot of mistakes, and he learned from them. Look at Jason Kidd. That's what people are saying now. He doesn't act like he used to act in Milwaukee or with the Nets, you know?
Sure.
So.
I don't fault him. But it's going to be fun to watch. And
I think it will be fun to watch.
Is his name on the court?
On the Mavs court?
Oh, it's got to be.
I can't remember if that bit was before or after his brief tenure. But that'd be
It's
fun.
the practice court, right? It's not the real court.
No, it's the real court, and it's insane.
Are all the names on the real court?
Yes.
Yeah, like
it's crazy.
Out of bounds, you know. But yes, they're all there, including Tony Romo.
Is Tony Romo's name on the real court?
Yes.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Is that 501 Kempspins, or we already got that probably?
That one doesn't count.
That's not even a Kempspin.
No. That's just a fun fact.
You
All right.
have now
Okay, we already
witnessed
did.
Kempspin number 500.
Was it close, too? That's fantastic. What a day.
That is fantastic.
Kempspin number 500. It's pretty funny because when I began keeping track of these Kempspins, when I first started with Dan and Jake, I had no idea why I was keeping them or what we'd even do with it. But here we are. A special announcement for those of you listening to this. You'll be the first ones to try out our new website. Head to Kempspin.com where we have built for you the Kempspin database. All 504 at the time of this show, all 504 of them are on there where you can search by name, search by details, or take a random spin and land on a celebrity that has done something to earn a neural pathway in Jake's brain. Don't know why we have it, but we do, so hope you enjoy it. And let me clarify, for some of you sticklers out there, some of them aren't overtly bad. Not every Kempspin is a career blemish, but when you've been tracking these Kempspins as long as I have, you'll detect a familiar cadence in the way that Jake brings up these fun facts about somebody. So if you don't agree, then keep your own list and make your own damn website. All right, moving on. We did our Thursday show at the Dallas Athletic Club, and Sarah Hepola stopped by to talk about her involvement in the Cowboys cheerleaders documentary on Netflix. Before you skip forward, like I know some of you are about to do, this was actually a pretty insightful conversation between Sarah and Dan and Jake. I, for one, am not into this documentary and won't watch it, but I did enjoy their discussion about cheerleaders in general. Give it a chance. Plus, you're going to need some of this to understand the next segment, so just relax and listen, all right?
I know you from your world-famous podcast as well, which I don't know the name of it, but it's not the current podcast, but the Dallas Cowboy podcast that you're on, that you put together. Dallas Cowboy Cheerleader.
The world-famous podcast. That one's called America's Girls.
Okay.
For Texas Monthly. And then I do a podcast with one Nancy Rommelman called Smoke 'Em If You Got 'Em.
And I also know you from the current... Is it a Netflix series, Jake, or is it HBO?
Netflix.
The current documentary on the Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, at least episode 1.
Yeah.
You are in there talking about stuff, Charlotte and not paying cheerleaders and stuff like that.
I'm talking about stuff. That is, by the way, guys, when I checked this morning, that was the #1 television show on Netflix.
Yeah, same here. I don't know if it's just the algorithm or what, but it's killing it. Yeah. So my first question was, do they get the idea to do this because of your podcast? And are you paid any sort of consulting fee?
Okay, so these are two separate questions. I mean, one is, they've been doing a reality show called Making the Team for 16 years. And it was on CMT, and it was well known to the very small audience that watched CMT. I don't know the last time you guys chilled out with some CMT.
Yeah, I'm sure back on the old show, Bob and Dan would play some audio from it, but we were not locked in on it.
Right.
But then it shut down in 2022 right after. Do you remember the scandal where Rich Dalrymple?
Do I remember?
Is how we
met.
That's
my whole bit.
It's you've been your whole career, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to check my notes because I feel like I was thinking this during watching this current documentary. I've only watched the first 3 episodes.
Same.
Okay, I do have a note that I wrote. After watching them in the uniform fitting, I don't support what Rich Dalrymple did, but I understand it.
Okay, I disavow this podcast. Took this long. I mean, that's a story for another time when I'm not on the podcast, please.
Yeah.
But, after that, a month after that broke, because Don Van Natta wrote about it, and it had happened in 2015, but they'd kept it quiet. And then Don Van Natta wrote about it, and then Dalrymple had just been like, "Okay, bye guys," and everybody was quiet. Anyway, after that, the Cowboys shut down Making the Team.
Probably a wise decision at the time.
At the time, I'm thinking, okay, reality has gotten too real. You just don't want cameras around, which who does?
Yeah.
And I just figured they were gonna fold it. But what I didn't realize was that Charlotte Jones had gone to Greg Whiteley, who is the creator of Cheer, which I have been on your podcast talking about before because I wrote a cover story for Texas Monthly about Monica Aldama, the coach from Corsicana's Navarro Junior College.
Quick sidebar, if you're going to bring up Rich and Charlotte, you have to include the second leg of that story where he was taking pictures up her skirt in the draft room.
Oh my God, I forgot about it.
Yeah, I didn't.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Yeah, it was allegedly, I guess.
Allegedly.
It's all alleged, right?
Well, Don wrote it, but
Well, look.
The cheerleader stuff alleged.
The
too.
cheerleaders stuff, they settled on it. You know,
Oh, yeah.
the 4 cheerleaders that were in the dressing room got $2.4 million split between the 4 of them.
Okay, and they all complain they don't make a lot of money.
Okay, that is inappropriate.
Oh.
It's Dan.
No, I wouldn't expect anything different. But
I'm on the Bonds list.
So they had already been in this reality TV show game, and I suspect Charlotte Jones saw Cheer and what it was doing. You know how it became like a smash, and she was like, "I want them to do that for us." So I think looking back now, they took that moment as a kind of like, you know what? Let's sever this deal, this 16-year deal with CMT, and let's create a partnership with this guy, Greg Whiteley, who does these really high, like the gloss.
It looks a lot better than the
looks
CMT
so
show.
much better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more intimate in the sense of like you get to know the women a little bit more. It's a little bit classier.
And I'll bet Netflix money is a little bit greener. And
I would imagine, although I
know?
wonder, the thing about working with the Cowboys, they're
cheap.
famously cheap. So it's like they're giving him access. The difficult
I'm saying
thing.
Netflix is paying them though.
I don't know. I feel like
Got to
Netflix
be paying way more than CMT could do.
Oh yes. Okay. To be clear,
That's
yes,
what I meant.
more than CMT. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And my only thing was, I just kind of wonder what the deal is because are the Cowboys profiting or is Greg profiting? I don't know the answers to these things, but I do know that if you're going to get in bed with the Cowboys in work, then you're not going to get a lot of money from them. They just don't. They don't give it
need
up. Yeah, they're.
Well, I mean, I guess they can force your hand because you're just using the Cowboy brand, which is worth so much in its own right that you don't really have the ability to negotiate unless you're Ezekiel Elliott.
Right.
Somehow you can get
which
away
case,
with it.
yeah.
But when you want to do a project on the cheerleaders, this is one of the reasons why a lot of people haven't done it is because they make it really difficult with trademarking, and they're famously litigious.
Yep.
And
that's why they take the uniform back. I was thinking about that. We were
bemoaning
100%. That of like, hey, they fit it for you. It's a big part of your life. You can't take the iconic uniform. It's because they don't want you showing up at wherever.
So by the way, Jake,
I was gonna say like
no, Jake,
doesn't like
I was gonna
Hooters
say
do
like
that too? You can't search and find porn with a Hooters girl. I've heard.
So those are knockoffs I've seen.
Wow.
Anyways,
so back in the 70s,
you can print anything on Etsy.
Orange
So
shorts.
back in the 70s,
There's a
there were actual incidents. I mean, the most famous one being Debbie Does Dallas. The porn Debbie Does Dallas involves a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader costume, and
my hands are clean on that one.
They used
As
it.
were.
Probably.
They
Wonder what Antonio Brown would say about that.
Too much. They used the marketing for that movie was that they pretended like she was an ex-Cowboys cheerleader, but she was probably just using the uniform of another former cheerleader. Bambi Woods is her name. R.I.P. And
Indeed.
yeah, and the other thing that happened was that there was a couple incidences where cheerleaders would show up at strip clubs in the uniform and make a ton of money.
Yeah.
And one of them got written up in the Dallas Morning News, and then I think they took legal action. But the most famous one was in Playboy when the former cheerleaders went topless.
With the uniform.
Well, they did an imitation of the uniform.
Okay.
But all of this made it so that they really, they signed you in, they signed you out, you couldn't hold on to it. They were not going to take any chances.
Interesting.
There's another Playboy spread. I remember, let me see if I can remember the tagline that Playboy used. It was a girl that had tried out, and she kept the audition outfit. And then they had her as in the centerfold, and it said, "The Cowboys Miss is our Miss January."
I like it.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It's not bad.
You know what's funny, Dan, is that's the second story we've heard about people who work in like the promotional and marketing arm of the Cowboys losing their job because they took the Cowboys stuff to a strip club. R.I.P. Rowdy. Who?
No way.
Well, he parked the van. There's a Rowdy van, and he was like, Jerry referenced this in a jocular comedic vein recently. they fired their old Rowdy because he took the Rowdy van, and it was photographed outside of a place of ill repute.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
he is rowdy.
Jerry's up
they
there
call him
laughing about
Rowdy.
it.
Why
That's
did
true.
why did they name him that?
That's true.
So yeah, I'm in that, and it's the #1 Netflix show on the TV streamer.
But we've heard from people that have appeared in documentaries, our banker for one, that you don't really make much from that, if anything.
Oh no, you're not
Okay.
supposed to be paid for
An interview?
An interview. That's journalistically unethical as a general rule. But I was a story consultant on this show.
The workaround.
So I helped them track down vintage clips. So, there's a lot of...
oh, nice.
Yeah. So when you see all those montages...
Mm-hmm.
So how long have you been involved with it then? Like, when did they start this whole thing?
I think they started it a year ago, and I got involved about 6 months ago.
I was surprised that you weren't one of the judges for the initial tryouts because they had like a traffic guy from a...
Okay, we got to talk about that.
Okay.
The traffic guy.
Because when we talked the other day, hold on, it's not the traffic guy. It's not the traffic guy.
The weather guy?
It's Scott Padgett, the CBS 11 weather guy. Okay.
Oh.
And when we talked the other day, that's in like the last 5 minutes of episode 1. I had not seen that part.
Okay.
And I have been just stewing on this since I saw it. I texted her and I was like, I just want to make sure you're not friends with this Scott fucking Padgett character, who probably is a member here, so I'm sorry to warn. But why, in God's name, do they have the guy who stands in front of the screen and tells you when it's going to rain, sitting there being like, I didn't like her kicks. I thought she was good in the routine, but not great on the field. What do you know? Listen,
I don't get it.
If somebody's going to tell me that
That's
Scott,
what I thought if anybody should be, Sarah should be a
if
judge.
somebody's going to tell me that Scott Padgett actually was a college cheerleader,
a yell leader,
or anything, then fine. I will walk all this back. But this is the first time you hear him, and I threw my remote. Sorry, Blake.
Number 36, Charlie.
So now they're putting images up there. It looks like a draft war room. It's a bunch of people sitting around a table. They're talking about prospects. The difference being all the people at a draft war room know about football.
Yeah.
Here they have Scott Padgett.
Except for, yodeling kid.
That's true.
And Jerry.
Point made.
In the field, I'm like, wow, looks amazing.
That's
and then
him.
she started kicking.
Well, I don't think we should lower our bar for anybody, but
Yeah, but
Lower.
so does the question become...
Okay, now you want to know who the second guy is here? Whenever they put up his little tag of what he does, it's his name, and it says Lucchese Boots Representative.
Right.
So it's just somebody they have
Sponsor.
a marketing
You know what I
sponsorship
think?
agreement. He's like an
Now,
80-year-old
one guy
dude.
was like a choreographer, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
for sure. Yeah.
I think these are sponsorship partners, and as part of the deal, they work in that somebody at the place gets to be a judge.
Yeah, and they have a deal with CBS 11, obviously. But if I'm Scott Padgett, I just say no. Like, what am I doing here?
Would you really?
I don't know. You
Would
might
you
say
really?
yeah.
I can tell you
Although
what I
I
wouldn't
felt-
do. I wouldn't walk into it, despite the fact that we talk about a lot of stuff we know nothing about. I would not feel comfortable judging these people who are professionals at what they do in the company of other professionals and being like, didn't like her kicks.
Yeah. I would probably just
sit there,
adhere to what those around me were voting.
Yeah.
But we need to take notes, though, because as we open up sponsorships, maybe if you don't like our social media or whatever, maybe you want to sit in on planning on the show.
That's the truth.
It's not a bad idea.
But that's why I was saying during that, I thought the voting should be private or a silent ballot or whatever you call it.
Yeah, because you're influenced by when the head lady holds her hand up.
Yeah, if
everyone's
she
like,
holds her hand
"Oh,
up,
okay."
I'm going to vote. I'm going to
Yeah.
vote her way because I don't know anything.
Yeah, that happens in sports all the time, right?
Yes, scouts.
Yeah.
Like, oh, here's what I think about him, and they all yes, harumph, harumph.
Mm-hmm.
We all agree.
Here's my last Scott Padgett clip. It's quick.
49, Victoria.
She wasn't dancing like a veteran. So I was expecting that level of energy, and it was just, I'm here, I'm kind of doing what I need to do.
Dancing like a veteran.
I should make the squad. So she was just being outdanced to me.
She was being outdanced to
If
me.
I'm Victoria,
When is it raining?
yeah,
Where's the heat dome?
Throw up the 7 days, Scott.
Come on. Is there a warning or a watch?
Can I
These are the things I need to hear from you,
ask
Scott Padgett.
a question, which is that have we confirmed Scott Padgett has no dance background?
Well, see, that's what I was saying. If
that's
people
what
are
he
going to
said.
tell
He'll
me
back off and
if he was a college cheerleader or if he has serious dance chops that I don't know about, we'll delete all this.
But also,
did he TikTok?
I don't.
You know who I
think-
bet also doesn't is the 80-year-old guy who's a representative of Lucchese Boots.
Okay, he
My
has
guess-
no dance background.
yeah.
But can I say that in a way, it makes sense for you to have normal Joes.
Oh, that's.
Well, there's Scott Padgett flossing, sort of, at the state fair.
Scott, you're not dancing like a veteran either, bud.
No, you look like you're just out there.
Now,
You're
maybe
not committed to the moves.
Maybe both he and the
What a great
booth
find,
guy
Rob.
have many years of ogling cheerleaders in their background.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. I'm
Yeah.
saying that you don't just want somebody there for technical ability. You
Right.
want male eyes because they're going to be the primary audience in the stadium at the very least.
Yeah.
And so you want that perspective.
I understand that, and that's fair. In that case, what I want to hear from Scott Padgett is something like, 39, great ass.
Okay, can I just tell you? Can I just tell you that?
Great ass. Yes, go full
back in the
Pacino. Like if that's what he's there for, then I don't want to hear him talking about
Okay.
leg kicks.
In defense of Scott Padgett and the corner that he was in with
Who
this
knew
show,
you'd have to defend him today?
I will die on this hill, and it'll be the end of me.
Before Sarah goes on to defend Scott Padgett, let's fast forward to our Friday show in the den where Jake has to walk back his stance on poor Scott Padgett.
I have one viewer mail submission that is via text from the great Chris Mykoski, who says Jake has to walk it all back. Scott Padgett has volunteered with the Miss America organization since 2006 as a local board member, MC, and a local and state judge. Scott was also a featured soloist with the Miami Gay Men's Choir, college cheerleader, and has competed in pro-am ballroom dancing.
Well, look at that. I said, hey, somebody tell us. I searched far and wide.
Yeah, we're like, why isn't Delkus? Why not Dan Henry? But Delkus and Dan Henry weren't ballroom dancers in the gay men's choir.
No, they were not in the Miami Gay Men's Choir.
Man, I don't know. I mean, I'll trust Chris. I found a couple deals where he would go do a bit like we were talking about with Sarah in a Cowboys cheerleader, where he's like, this one says like, from when he was in a different city, our very own Scott Padgett is trying his hand at competitive ballroom dancing. Okay, that doesn't indicate that he. I don't know.
You're right. This could be deceptive because it says it's competed in a pro-am. Maybe he was the am.
Yeah.
Still, though.
But he was a college cheerleader.
Yeah.
No, it's a lot more than I thought. It's a lot more than I thought, for sure.
Are you ready to publicly apologize to Scott Padgett?
I think you need to.
We'll get to that on Monday.
Oh, we're
He wants to do his own
research.
research.
That's right. All right.
I just want to start this by issuing the most earnest of apologies to CBS 11 meteorologist Scott Padgett.
That didn't take long.
Well, I found it pretty legit. Basically, I found what Mykoski found. What Chris
No puppet.
Yeah.
So we didn't wait till Monday.
No, this is too legit. I mean, I found a couple of other things, and also, like, we saw him doing we saw him flossing. Didn't look like a dancer to me at all.
No.
Frankly. It says he has been in a pro-am ballroom dancing situation, but I found, that one of his previous jobs, previous news outlets sent him to compete and learn, like Dan with the Maniacs. That doesn't really sell me. Not really sure what his participation in the Miami Gay Men's Choir has to do with dancing, but point made. But college cheerleader's pretty convincing.
Do they need to specify that it needs to be gay men in the choir?
Yes, that's the point.
Yeah, like I think what Blake is saying. If you say you were in the choir, we might have.
Don't you think there's some redundancy there?
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of dudes who were in music, guys, like Jameson just said.
I know, but why would you have to then say, "Well, this is the gay choir"?
Yeah.
So you can expect to sing ABBA and Britney Spears and stuff like that.
Draws a different audience.
They have like the.
It's a pride thing.
Oh, this is the gay women's basketball team.
So I'll now set my sights on, yes, and I understand that it's a sponsorship relationship, but the Lucchese guy.
What's he got?
He's like a 70-something-year-old man who works at a cowboy boot company, and he had hot opinions too. You can't tell me that guy was in the Miami Gay Men's Choir.
No, he paid his way in, though.
Yeah, but then shut up.
That's the way No, you pay your way in. You can do what you want.
I bought my tickets. Scott Padgett, I'm sorry.
Look at Chase and Bill here. They're doing their thing.
That's true.
Exonerated. Scott, if you're out there, please accept our sincerest of apologies. Jake can be really mean sometimes, but at the root of it, he's a really swell guy. Hope you're doing okay. Back to the cheerleader conversation for literally 2 minutes, because I don't want to move on without playing this snippet from their discussion. Sarah Hepola asked the question, why is it so hard for men to watch women be judged on their looks?
Another way you could see this is that it's a free makeover. I mean, to do your hair
but you don't get
professionally.
to choose.
I understand that, but you are. This is the thing at the core of the cheerleaders, which is deeply uncomfortable in the 21st century, which is you are not there to be yourself. You are there to be what they need. And the truth is, that's true of football. It's just somehow so much more triggering when it's women. And so what I'd like to drill into for just a second, if you don't mind, is why that made you so uncomfortable. Because like you said, the women enjoy it oftentimes. They're excited about it. They're looking forward to it. So what is it that makes you uncomfortable? Is it because you as a man have been so trained to say, no, honey, you look good in that no matter what the answer is? Or is it because you have daughters and you are a daughter and you don't want, like, what is it triggering?
I think it's both of those things. And I did think about it from a sports perspective, because you'll draft a player and in year 3, they're like, we have to make you a jump shooter. Or, Dwight Powell, all of a sudden, we're going to make you shoot threes. Like, so they're telling you this is what your career is going to be. It just feels different when it's just completely appearance-based. And it's partially daughter, but I think in general, I just don't love the idea that people are going to be primarily judged on their looks. It just feels like a really base societal thing that we should try to not have. But it's always going to be that way.
But I mean, it's very interesting to hear like sports guys say that. I mean, I remember, weren't we talking about your uncle? Somebody's uncle was real creepy with the cheerleaders.
Oh, it was Corby's.
Oh, it was Corby's
uncle. Yeah.
Yeah.
He would bring the binoculars.
Yeah.
solely for that.
Yeah. But I mean, like, if you're going to have women in very little clothing on the sidelines, and they're orchestrated to get attention and market attention for your team,
they're going to have to.
Does it seem like a good plan to just be like, whatever you do, you?
Like we've talked about this before. I'm just uncomfortable that cheerleaders exist.
Yes.
Yet, like you said, women want to do it. They grow up doing it. They want to be on the sideline cheering.
They love dancing
and looking hot and everything. So who am I to eradicate that?
That is author and columnist Sarah Hepola on with us discussing the new Netflix documentary about the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders from our Thursday live stream. If you've noticed, we've been trying to live stream more and more, and I promise you I will get better about promoting them. I just had to lay the groundwork here in the past week or so. Feels like the old days, back at our normal time slot. Speaking of nostalgia, we are just under 3 weeks away from NCAA 25. For me, I'm planning on starting a TCU dynasty with custom conferences, and I'm going to put schools back where they belong. Let's rebuild the Pac-12, let's rebuild the Big 12 with Texas and OU, and restore some sort of decency in college football. I'm a dork, so let me know your NCAA plans. I enjoy the deep dives that some people do out there, and I do plan on bringing back my relegation system, so I'll keep you updated on that as we go forward. While on the topic of college athletics, Jake brings us the Kyle Filipowski story that may or may not include Kyle nailing his former babysitter.
All right, I want to tell you guys about another sort of NBA story, college basketball story that is pretty insane.
Good. I've avoided this just for you to tell us.
Okay, so I heard a clip of audio from the Low Post, which is Zach Lowe's podcast, probably the biggest NBA podcast in the game. And he had Jonathan Gavoni on, who is the biggest draft expert in the game. Like, he's a guy who's in, Kenya, wherever in Europe. Like, he's done NBA Africa. He's everywhere, and he knows about like the top 1,000 amateur basketball players in the world.
He's Kuiper.
Definitely. But you got to know more in basketball because you've got to know Croatia and you've got to know Spain and you've got to know college. And Kuiper just needs to know college. So, in any case, they had him on, and this was yesterday heading into round 2. So, round 1 had wrapped up, then round 2, Thursday afternoon, and somebody posted this clip, and I went and found a little bit longer version of it, but they're talking about a kid from Duke. I'll back it up.
That's my bad.
You're good.
Is there anything we should? What did we not talk about? Is there anything you really wanted to hit? Or is there anything that's like super interesting about this second round other than Bronny?
I was shocked that Kyle Filipowski, invited to the green room, still sitting here right now, waiting to hear his name called. I got to think the Toronto Raptors need to look hard at him at 31. This guy is 7 feet tall. He can dribble. He can pass. He can shoot. He's not a bad defender. He's competitive. The workouts weren't great. People tell me there were question marks about the interviews. They said he was nervous. He didn't make shots at the pro day. What's going on with his girlfriend? This is all nonsense. It's hard to find a 7-footer like Kyle Filipowski who is this skilled. Somebody needs to draft him very early in the second round.
Wait a second. I'm obviously out of the loop on what the young kids are talking about. What's going on with his girlfriend? You need to elaborate.
He has an older girlfriend. She's like 25 or 26, and people are like, this is weird. And it's like, give me a freaking break, guys.
That's not the what?
He doesn't talk to his parents, it's
oh my God, I got to get this guy on the podcast. I got to get them both on the podcast. I got to get them both on the podcast.
We're going to get this sorted out, Kyle. And Kyle, he's going to have a very good NBA career.
Okay. They talk about it a little bit more after that, but that's the meat.
So I heard that short clip, too, the other day. It was...
Yeah,
and just being dismissed like, oh, you're just dating someone who's 26? Okay.
Yeah, but even the part at the end where Gavoni's like,
"You're gonna get them both on the
podcast. We're gonna get this sorted out, Kyle." And Kyle, he's gonna have
like
a
it's no
very
big
good
deal.
NBA career.
Yeah. And so, the person who clipped that and posted it on Twitter said, "Hey, I heard this on Low Post today, and it sent me down a Kyle Filipowski wormhole." And then that person started tweeting about their situation because let's say that he's 20 and he has a 25-year-old girlfriend. Maybe he was 19 and she was 24 when they met. That's not really weird at all. I mean, it sounds awesome, but it doesn't seem...
Nobody can teach you so much.
Nobody would really bat an eye at that. Mm-hmm. He doesn't talk to his parents. Okay, whatever. I mean, people have falling outs with their parents. But then things got really weird. As people started going through her Instagram page and looking at his posts, it became clear that she attended his prom. He was 18, but she attended his prom after she had already graduated college. So we're getting a little closer to the danger zone here. I know I said 19 and 24 maybe, but still a high school kid, and she's attending the prom. That means they didn't just meet. And they didn't just meet because the speculation is she was his babysitter. And once this picked up a little bit of momentum, Dan, Kyle's brother and mom started tweeting.
Oh, good.
And it appears to me, based on looking at their accounts, that these accounts did not exist before this story came out. At least the moms. The brother said, "I'm Kyle's oldest brother. You all don't have a clue of the extent of the story that has to do with his girlfriend. There's a story that's been pushed under the table for nearly 2 years now." And this guy said, "Hey, DMs are open. I can take this post down if you want." He says, blah, blah, blah. That's not that interesting. But he does say, no one knows about what's going on outside of who's involved, the Duke coaching staff, and his agent, referring to the situation with his girlfriend. Also implying the Duke coaching staff is well aware that this guy was 16 or 17 years old and dating a 22-year-old.
Okay.
This guy said, but look up at the brother, but look up and read on Mormon grooming and brainwashing, and you'll find some introductory details in there to connect some of the dots into the story that is going on. The mom says, "You are opening a 2-year issue, and she is 28 with an in-game 3 years ago to have a diamond ring on her hand when Kyle left Duke. He was still in high school," in all caps. So he's 20, she's 28. The mom is implying that they started dating whenever they were maybe 17, 16, and she would have been 25.
Okay.
That's rape in most states.
Or the luckiest boy alive.
Yeah. So, the parents have tweeted more about this. There's an actual photo.
8-year age difference.
Yeah. Okay. I think I said 6, but the mom clarified that it was 8. Gavoni thought it was, maybe 5, maybe 6.
Yeah.
So if she was babysitter, then like he's
14,
7 or 8, and she's 16.
14, he's 6.
That's not that weird.
But if that's how they met, that is.
Oh
really
no!
weird.
Yeah. That's a common.
I heard a whoa back there. I'm like, I think ninth grader, 10th grader could babysit like a 6 and his 4-year-old
Oh yeah,
brother.
for sure. As long as they don't end up sleeping together.
Yeah. And then they throw in the Mormon brainwashing angle to it. That this is something that
she's Mormon.
Must be. I haven't seen that reported anywhere, but other than his parents saying,
okay,
that's what's happening.
It's not like the Jazz draft of him.
That's the thing. He did go in day 2 in the second pick of the NBA draft to the Utah Jazz.
Oh wow! Well, they did have a high.
They did
high pick, and if he was
Toronto didn't
a bubble
take him
guy,
though.
Yeah,
there was one pick ahead of him. He wasn't a bubble guy. He was a top half of the first round pick.
Oh,
without a doubt.
And he dropped because of all this?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I mean, they invited him to the green room. Like that's not even just for the first round. That's that's a big deal. He was a baller at Duke.
Huh. Yeah, that's a very. Usually, I guess teams would just say, there's lots of problems. We can overcome this one, but to drop that far in the draft, that's a major, major thing. Like that's cocaine or whatever.
Yeah, drugs. Yeah.
It's funny too, just people piecing together all of the different stages of their life where they were. As this lady pulled up the girlfriend's LinkedIn page and says, Caitlin Hutchinson, the girlfriend, entered undergrad in 2015 when Kyle was 11 years old.
I love when the internet becomes detectives.
She has known him since at least 2017 when he was 14, but that goes against the babysitter story.
Yeah, you don't need a babysitter for a 14-year-old.
I don't know that I've seen that proven. It might just be people trying to live out a fantasy.
But also, if he's 7 foot now, he was probably pretty tall when he was 14, and so that can, perhaps cause him to look older than he is or appear older, all that. Judge.
I was going to say.
I mean, look at the picture here.
But you might need a babysitter still when you're 10 or 11.
Yeah.
So if that was the case and she was like 18. Yeah. I mean, it's a weird story. And maybe, Gavoni said he was nervous. Maybe he's just a nervous guy. In the interviews with teams are asking questions like, so what's your whole scene, dude? What's this? Because they will ask you, like, are you in a committed relationship? Do you have any kids? Blah, blah, blah. And if they said to him,
does your mom...
Oh, you got a girlfriend.
Is your dad your grandpa?
What's your relationship with your parents? Oh, I don't talk to them.
Is your dad your grandpa, isn't that?
Yeah.
What was Des?
Yeah. Jeff Ireland. It really is your mama, a prostitute. But
is your brother your dad?
Yeah, and so, they ask you, hey, what's your dating scene like? And he says, well, I got a girlfriend. Where'd you meet her? Well...
Interesting you asked.
A pool party at my 5th birthday. Oh, she was in your class? No, she was entering high school. It's a wild story. And, I forgot to add this part to it. And yeah, if you're looking, of course, she's hot. Look like...
It helps.
We had some people leaning into a computer.
I was not looking.
I don't see a lot of issues here.
What's her name?
Caitlin Hutchinson, is that right?
Yes.
The other weird part about this, when I went to go pull that audio this morning, I usually would do that on my computer on the Apple Podcast app, and you can just rip it from there. because I had listened to it on my phone yesterday and downloaded the episode. When I went to look for it this morning, that episode was about 6 minutes shorter.
Uh-oh.
And they had taken all that out.
That's really weird.
I know. Maybe I did something wrong, but I looked at the episode link, that I went to where it would have been, and it wasn't there. Whereas the one that I have on my phone, and you even had on your phone.
Yeah. It was downloaded on my app. Huh.
So anyways, if you're any of our 11-year-old listeners who might be getting a babysitter while your parents go out for a nice dinner this weekend, know there is hope.
That from our Friday show In the Den. More from that Patreon-only episode in just a bit. In case you missed it last week, I reviewed the book My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. Really enjoyed it. Good suspense throughout. Nice couple twists at the end. 8.5 out of 10 on the Blake scale. If you're enjoying the book reports and want to catch up with me, I'm currently reading Calamity of Souls by David Baldacci. Try to bounce around some different genres and have hit a couple girl books in a row, so reading a, quote, high-octane, action-packed, and moving legal thriller during the civil rights movement. Got a few good recommendations for books to hit next, but always happy to chat about it with you. Hit me up, Blake at nopuppetproductions.com. There is your 40-liner, and here is the Dumb Zone News with Jake.
No puppet.
Here's Jake with the Dumb Zone News.
What an open. It's going to be so distracting. I can't not look at how awesome it is. Mark Cuban got hacked.
Oh, what do you mean?
Cyberdust?
Yeah, why if it
I
wasn't
don't think
using
it was on
Cyberdust?
Cyberdust, but his actual regular Gmail got hacked.
Didn't he once say he wouldn't come on our show unless you contacted him through Cyberdust?
It wasn't. It's even worse than that. He said, "Dust me." Sorry. Yeah.
Hey, I'm pro Mark Cuban. He's just trying anything he can.
Yeah, why not?
Try it, and it might have picked up, and it didn't. And he goes on right to the next thing.
Yeah. So yeah, I've dusted him a few times. that
Is that still a thing?
I don't think so. I think Snapchat kind of eventually
won the war.
Won the war. Yeah. So in a now removed post on Twitter, and I love how news outlets have to do this now. They all say in a now removed post on X, formerly Twitter.
Just because no one really knows it as X?
Yeah. Said he was hacked after he received a call from a fake Google representative who imitated the company's account recovery methods. And
what did they sound like?
You can guess if you want.
Hello.
Oh.
Your Uber driver?
Yeah, just play that audio.
Dan guessed.
I'm just saying, if they were faking a customer service representative, you would think they'd have to get into character in a way.
Yeah. Dan would be really good at this.
There's no Cyberdust. I was just looking for it.
It's not in the App Store anymore?
No.
So he tweeted out the phone number. I suppose just raising awareness. He tweeted out the phone number. He tweeted out the name of the person that he said was scamming him. And then said, if anyone gets anything from mcuban@gmail.com after 3:30, it's not me. But
if he can get...
That's what I was going to say. The fact is, if Cuban can get hacked
although I
and
guess,
get scammed, then...
But people are looking to hack him.
I assume they're looking to hack
But you would think
80-year-olds.
Wouldn't he have two-factor?
Two-factor authentication?
Yeah, everyone does that.
I hate two-factor.
Yeah.
2FA?
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't do it if I can avoid it. I probably shouldn't announce that.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you just announce to the world that you don't own a gun?
I'm going to have to start that up.
Is the point of it just you just have to go to the Authenticator app and that's it? You probably know this.
I do the Authenticator app for, Coinbase or whatever.
Yeah, I do it for crypto.
But, no, sometimes isn't there a thing where you have to then go to your email every time?
Yeah. Okay. And Cumin didn't have that. That's surprising to me. The body of a missing kayaker, a 23-year-old man, was recovered Sunday from the Trinity River after he drowned. This happened around Highway 175 in Crandall. I see people, sometimes I go pick up breakfast on the other side of the lake. Like if you have to drive to Flower Mound.
That's a pretty far drive. Why?
Well, I haven't done it since I've lived by you. But when I lived in Grapevine, there's a place over there that it's like 15 minutes. There's a couple places over there I like. I get a little brekkie. And I see people out there and I'm like, man, they look really alive.
Out there kayaking in...
Yeah, in Grapevine Lake.
9 a.m.?
Yeah. And it looks awesome. But I do feel like I'm pretty high on the percentile of you could die doing this. Somehow you screw it up. You tip over.
Yeah, how ironic, too. You wanted to feel more alive.
Yeah, now you're dead.
And now you're dead.
But that's the thing is, like, I see people out at Grapevine Lake all the time and think I should be taking more advantage of the lake. It's right there. There's so much cool stuff you can do. Like I told you about that camp my daughter did last week. So I was driving by there every day and thought I should be out here more. We have a cool lake. It's huge right here.
It's too hot.
Could you swim across the whole lake?
Could I or could someone?
You. Like, how far is it? Chappie used to do the triathlons.
Yeah, it was like a mini triathlon, but I mean, yeah, he still swims.
Like, how far is the lake across? Is it a mile? I really don't know.
No one knows.
Does anyone know?
Nope. No one will ever know.
It's impossible to know.
It's impossible to know.
I was going to look at the map and try and figure it out just visually.
There have been a couple times where
my key
on a dude's trip. Do you have a result there? It sounded like somebody had a bing.
It's only about as long as my pinky.
And what's the scale?
That's probably doable then. There's been a couple times on
you could do it
on like a dude's trip where.
Let's do it for the show. Jake has to swim across.
For what?
Like, what's the content play?
Come see it?
Where, you know.
Well, it's you doing something with the lake.
You'll get into the afternoon and you're 4 or 5 in and you're like, I'm swimming across this thing. Which is the worst idea. Like, that's how people die. In fact, you know, not to speculate, but it's possibly how this young man passed.
That alcohol was involved somewhere?
You'd have to, I mean, you know. Speaking of water deaths, an actor from Pirates of the Caribbean died in a shark attack while surfing, which is just horribly ironic.
Yeah, and it's really rare, right?
And there's a shark that's approximately 10 yards over there. By the way, a lot of shark attacks lately. Do you notice that?
Right.
There is.
He was right.
He predicted it. Yep.
But shark attacks are very rare, right?
They are rare, but they're...
Isn't it like one a year? Maybe.
No, dude.
Way
more
deaths
than that.
than one a year?
I don't know about deaths.
So there's a shark 10 yards away from the boat. 10 yards.
Dan's right. One fatality every 2 years.
Yeah, but the attacks are like... I'm looking at it. It's 60 a year.
But the chances are you won't die. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but you're mangled.
Yeah. You don't want that.
This is there. There were 14 confirmed shark-related fatalities this year, 10 of which were assigned as unprovoked.
What were the other 4?
The other 4 were like, "What's up?
What's up, bitch? You want smoke?"
Hey, bitch.
Yeah, at parking lot at Abuelos, yeah.
Cute fin.
What's up?
Oh, you're real tough.
Yeah.
Made
Can't even get out
over
of the
there
water.
with
Can't
your
even get out of
fin.
the water.
You swimming around? You want a piece? Yeah, I mean, I do think it's happening more now, though, just because of we're like socializing them to people. Because like people will go out and dive with sharks more now. Video man, have you ever done like are you a scuba guy at all? Okay. I feel like that's a lot of times the same guy.
Yeah, a guy who's really into skydiving is probably into scuba.
Yeah, self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. But
what's skydiving stand for?
He says your mom. We've socialized them to being around people more. Because people go out and do these tours, and to see them, they have to put meat in the water, right? They have to chum the water so that the shark will come to the cage, and then they're like, "Oh, people, that means food." I think I do think it's actually happening more now. But to be an actor on Pirates of the Caribbean and be, in the water for much of your career, and then die from a shark, that's a tough break. It's like if you died when you opened Audition and it electrocuted you or something.
Moment of silence.
Whoop.
For that guy. That was it.
So there's a shark 10 yards away from the boat. 10 yards.
I thought this was an odd note from the story. It says lifeguards brought the man to shore by jet ski, which I don't.
Why does it have to be put in the story at all?
I know. It's just a really odd addition. Lifeguards brought.
What if it was by tube? Like they laid him on the tube?
He's Weekend at Bernie's.
And they're tubing. Yeah.
Yeah, the banana boat. Yeah. And it says by jet ski and paramedics assisted with the death pronouncement.
Like if you die on
why do you have to do that?
On the slopes.
Right.
Clearly, the editor needed 500 words.
They put him on a sled.
I've been there.
Yeah.
We've all been there. But yeah, did they make you snowboard down dead?
They just kind of tie you to the thing.
I don't know.
And where was that?
That was in Honolulu.
Oh, okay.
Which I think is
so
actually
we don't have to worry about it.
No, but man,
not a lot of sharks around here.
Not a lot of sharks around here. I don't think that's how the Trinity River kayaker passed, but definitely Galveston area. Gulf of Mexico is a hot zone
for sharks.
Yeah.
I'd like to call your bluff. But I've never been there and you have, so it must be right.
The Gulf of Mexico is a known shark area.
I know, and you're saying it with a lot of authority, but I've heard this before.
Anyways.
And later it'll be a montage.
The Texas coast is one of the safest waterfronts in this regard.
God bless. Result 1.
He just fact-checked you right away?
17 shark bites in 100 years.
None of them are bites. None of them are bites. They're all attacks.
Well, he's saying if there's only 17 bites
in a century,
that means you'd get 17 bites within one attack. He's saying there's just never an attack.
I'm just reading.
An Amber Alert for a missing 6-month-old child in El Paso.
This is from visitgalveston.com, so they probably...
What are they going to say?
They're probably trying to cover it up.
They're not going to tell you anything.
It's not as hot as I thought it would be. Did you just yawn?
Yeah, he's tired of your news.
An Amber Alert for a missing 6-month-old. This is the last one. Missing 6-month-old child in El Paso has been discontinued, and I only bring this up because I got this alert this morning, and I was wondering.
You haven't turned that off on your phone?
I wanted to ask whether or not you had.
Oh, for sure.
You do? You have it off?
I think I did it. It was like a year or so ago. Do you remember that one that came at night?
Yeah.
And it was like from Houston?
Yeah. And it was like,
wait. And it just woke everybody up. And it's like, whoa. And I don't want to be woken up if my own family dies in the middle of the night, let alone if something happened in Houston.
I love Soroy's bit on this.
What's that?
He gets up and just kind of peeks out the blinds. And he's like, all right, I did my part.
I looked.
Because, what are you going to do? You're right. It's in Houston. What am I going to do?
One of the funniest videos I've ever seen in my life is what's his name? Mark something?
Zuckerberg.
No.
Stein.
We can play it. Whatever. It's just YouTube Mark Amber Alert.
The fuck is that guy's name?
But I think
Mark?
there's the only chance is that there might be an N-word in here, but I don't think so.
Dump and chase?
Yeah.
We can't do that.
But it's just like a video about how they expect you to react when you get an Amber Alert.
What color is Mark?
Mark Curry?
Before we know if you're
Mark
allowed
is
to-
Mark is not white.
Okay, well then, yeah.
But yeah, like just that you're supposed to spring into action with your boys and like all assemble.
Looking for a license plate.
Yeah. Like, what are we supposed to do?
We got it. It's a gray Honda.
Yeah. The plates check out.
But were they dirty?
How about silver?
Yeah, do they have mud on the plates?
Right. Yeah, Silver Alert, you know, my theory on that has always been that there's like an island of people, old people living together. That they just disappeared. And that they all, because you just you see the sign, and you're like, well, where are they all going?
Off to die.
It's possible. You want to try it?
You haven't? Oh, he doesn't have it.
Okay, no worries. No worries. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know about the Silver Alert. I assume that they're all found or all dead.
Yeah, they don't really update it after.
They really
right?
don't. No, you very rarely see the story like this one where they say, "Oh, okay, this is what happened." But yeah, I got this one pretty early this morning, and the first thing I thought was, Dan didn't get this.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm oblivious to that. But I hope they found the kid. That's where I stand.
I got in an anime fight before.
They did find the kid.
Excellent.
They did find the kid. And I suppose there's your news.
The Dumb Zone News. Like and subscribe.
Kick-ass graphic.
That news was from our Monday, June 24th episode with Dominic Robinson in our new studio. I want to remind you, if you haven't already, be sure you're subscribed to our Patreon. For only $7 a month, you get access to 2 extra episodes a week. That's 8 a month and less than $1 per episode. And we go on for like 2.5 hours, so you're looking at, what, 30 cents an hour? Come on, it's a deal. It's a deal and a half. And you'd be helping us out as well. Just pray about it, please. All right, back to Thursday's episode at the DAC. Sarah Hepola hadn't heard about Hawk Tuah girl, so Jake had to educate her.
Well, maybe Victoria is actually busy telling us about the cold,
weather?
the cold front.
The
yeah.
heat index?
Did you say the heat advisory ends tomorrow? Like it's going to be better?
I think it's better as far as them saying you could die if you're outside. It's not going to be quite that bad.
Isn't this the kind of heat that your dad will mow his acre?
Yeah.
Like,
with a push mower.
He's a grinder.
Yeah.
Guy's an animal.
Side note, I gotta own up to something. I forgot to call my dad on his birthday on Tuesday.
Like all day?
Yeah.
We should have called him on the show.
I didn't have him in my. We talked about him that day, and I didn't even think about it.
Aw.
I didn't have that one in my calendar, I guess, or that calendar populated. I called him yesterday, and yeah.
Did he?
He shrugged it off.
Did he point it out?
No.
Do you think it hurt him?
I feel
Yeah,
like
I do. I feel like it hurt him, but he would never tell me that, and I felt so bad about it. And because I'm like the good one about that. My brother, he ain't calling. But me, I've been pretty good about it for forever, even though I don't care at all about people's birthdays.
Yeah, and I think, I wonder how I think I would be fine with it. Like, I don't
think
want
you'd
my
be fine with
birthday
it.
acknowledged, yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure it bothered him. So anyways, tough break, old chapster.
How can we make it up to him? Let's get him a hooker.
Okay.
And he's already down because he's got nothing to bet on.
Well, you got
Listen, bud, he's found something.
What's he doing?
What was the thing you were talking about earlier?
Lacrosse.
Hawk Tuah girl?
Yeah,
Oh,
Hawk
Hawk
Tuah girl.
Tuah.
You know Hawk Tuah girl?
no, I don't even know what those words are.
Damn, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you living under a rock?
He's not online at all.
Reading books and
Yeah,
probably
what are you doing? Reading books and writing articles?
Yeah,
driving
lame.
Rolls Royces?
Probably doing
The
adult
level
stuff.
of this hostility
Cadillacs
does
or
not
whatever.
match my not knowing Hop to It girl.
that's the
Oh, Hawk Tuah. Yeah, I saw this on your Instagram. I didn't know what the hell it meant. I
that's
was
the
like,
Kids Bop version. Hawk
Why?
Tuah girl.
what does this mean?
It's a yeah, he's right.
Yeah, bring one of those every day.
It's a guy doing man on the street interviews, and he's asking women. I think it's in downtown Nashville, like in a bar district. What makes you wife material? One of the girls is like, "Oh,
Let's play it.
I'm loyal." I was stalling, but I don't know. Yeah, we don't. And
okay, hold on.
They ask her. Yeah,
we can just give her the audio.
Yeah, we can just play the audio.
Although maybe I should just let you recreate it.
I was gonna. I thought you might want to hear it.
Why am I an idiot? I'm sorry.
She says, I'm loyal. I'm a good friend. And then her friend pops in and she's like, what makes you wife material? And then she starts talking and then he follows up with, what's one move in bed that'll make a man go crazy? And she goes, Hawk Tuah!
Oh my
Spit
God.
on that thing.
Oh, my God.
I might have had the order backwards. It might have been spit on that thing, Hawk Tuah!
No, you nailed it.
Yep. And now she's the most famous person on the planet right now.
Well, I mean,
She's like a 22-year-old girl.
I think you might have a different Twitter feed than I do.
I think it's becoming increasingly clear.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
If you're in need of a Dumb Zone shirt or tumbler or sticker or whatever, check out dumbzonemerch.com. A lot of cool stuff to pick from, including the Is Europe France shirt. Some of Dan's finest work there. One more quick thing. I'd like to bring back the phones in some way. If you have a question or comment about the show, leave a voicemail at 903-865-DUMB. 903-865-3862. Maybe this could be the place to play some of them, because I may turn this into primarily a replay episode, but then maybe I turn this into the Blake Show. I don't know. We'll see. Back to Tuesday, June 25th with KT. We learn about the human lightning rod and who Dan and Jake's original choice for their producer was.
The Dumb Zone presents.
Why are you yelling at me?
He's yelling at me.
Oh, man. So, KT, Kevin Turner, today is Tuesday, June 25th. Right?
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of your department, but yes.
Oh, okay. So let's lead off with this. On this day in 1977, Roy Sullivan. Search the name Roy Sullivan.
Okay.
He was struck by lightning on this day in 1977.
Whoa.
On this day,
Bud.
it was the 7th time he had been struck by lightning.
That's incredible. His Wikipedia page is hilarious. Because, whoa, look at him. Because over here it says born, and it has his name, his birth date, and his place of birth. It says death. It has his death date, the place of his death, and then there's a thing that says known for, and the known for just says getting struck by lightning 7 times.
What a legacy.
April 1942 was his first. July 1969. Then he had quite a run. 1970, 1972, 1973, 1976, and then finally 1977.
God, the 70s for him. Just stay inside at some point.
This guy seems really wild. So the 1977 one says he was struck by lightning while fishing in a freshwater pool. The lightning hit the top of his head, set his hair on fire, traveled down, and burnt his chest and stomach.
Certainly it can't get worse.
He turned to his car, and he sees a bear approaching the pond.
Come on.
Which is trying to steal trout from his fishing line. He said, it says here, Sullivan had the strength and courage to strike the bear with a tree branch, despite the fact that his hair was on fire. He claimed that was the 22nd time he had hit a bear with a stick in his lifetime.
Okay, this guy's a liar. He's a liar.
I mean, I guess if you're going to hit a bear with a stick, you would count them.
Oh, my God.
But I think you would lose count and just say, I just hit bears with sticks at some point, rather than counting all the way to 22.
He looks like Gene Hackman. You gotta make this movie.
Exactly.
Sullivan's wife also got hit by lightning once.
What?
Okay, no, none of this is true.
She was out hanging clothes in their backyard. Her husband was helping her.
Oh,
Maybe
my
it was
God.
aiming for her.
Yeah.
God.
Aiming for him? Yeah, that's...
Or aiming for him, yeah.
Well,
oh, my God.
Did that... It's Governor Abbott. He was jogging, and then lightning hit a tree, and that fell on him. I got a friend. He lives in California, so he's not, politically biased at all. And he just does not buy that Governor Abbott was jogging when he was paralyzed.
Well, I'm pretty sure he was.
And I'm like, I think it's documented, but I'm now questioning the details.
But I don't know if lightning was involved. I think it might have been like a landscaping company or something. But I could be wrong about that. Bye, Beth.
He was said to have been avoided by people during the later years of his life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Owing to fears of being struck by lightning, and that saddened him. He once recalled he was walking with the chief ranger. He was a ranger, a park ranger. One day when lightning struck way off in the distance, the chief said, "I'll see you later." So he was kind of sad by this fact. And on the morning of September 28th, 1983, he shot himself in the head.
Holy shit.
And committed suicide.
Boy, just 20 years of reaching his hand
How
out.
am I first now hearing about this? We've been doing this Today in History thing for 20 years.
It's amazing.
You know what hurts the most? It's the sadness. Well, actually, that's...
How about the other thing?
That's the second most. Because the most is the 7 lightning strikes.
The other thing.
On his basketball reference page, it says Spark Ranger.
Oh, man.
Okay. I like that, Blake.
20 years of just reaching his hand out and shake someone's hand. Like, I don't know, buddy.
I don't know, man.
You have a thing.
So, yeah, on this
I wonder
day...
if like science studied his body.
Yeah, what was in his body that would attract it? Maybe like a key, right? Isn't that what Benjamin Franklin hung on the kite?
Yeah.
He had swallowed a key as a boy.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's incredible. Never be the same. 500th Kempspin and that.
What a day.
On this day in 1985, Monday Night Football announced their new lineup. So they had their ratings were falling after Howard Cosell and Don Meredith left. So they announced it would be Frank Gifford, who had been there already. But he would be joined by Joe Namath and O.J. Simpson.
Oh.
What could go wrong? A lot of OJ news lately.
Yeah, you know what? I was actually looking at... We never had that Sunday meeting we were going to have, so let's have it now. Because we were going to talk Sunday about guests and stuff coming up on the show, and we have talked about the fact that, we were saving some stuff till the Mavs were done with their run, and now they're done. So what are we doing? Well, next week, William Pace will be joining us.
Heck yeah.
If you don't know who William Pace is, well, stay tuned next week.
We got to go before this becomes a zoo.
Sarah Hepola Thursday.
Actually, Rob talked to William Pace yesterday, so we've confirmed this.
Yes.
We've set up their tech, right? They're set. The great William Pace from Dayton, Ohio. It looked like a very difficult conversation you were having with William Pace. He might be 80.
He might have an AOL email.
I don't know
He's
how old
a very,
he
very
does have
sweet,
an AOL.
sweet man. He's just the sweetest man ever.
He really is.
Yeah. But he has a technical guy, and it turns out we're not going to use a technical guy because he's just going to wind up doing it from his laptop. So we'll see. I think we'll be okay.
Okay. But that's next Tuesday, I believe. But where was I going? Oh, I have another guest I wanted to get.
OJ related somehow?
That's right. Thanks. So I was looking at. He's good at this.
I've got practice.
I was looking at our, things we've been doing and talking about in the past, and we had wanted to get the Sports Princess on.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we need to get a line on her, and let's go over, because we might have even found, like, another episode of her and OJ.
You found another one?
So you might not even know this, Kevin KT Turner, but the legendary Sports Princess interviewing OJ, taking phone calls, and we've all TMZ picked up on it, and they have like a montage that they played.
Yeah, the 1 minute clip that's on YouTube.
That was a montage of 3 different days of calls. And Blake, because he's Blake, found those episodes. And I remember on the phone with you as you were going through it, you had to like use some like internet.
Yeah, the Wayback Machine.
The Wayback Machine.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with this?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
So things that aren't on the internet anymore, you can still find them.
All my conspiracy theorist friends out there know what the Wayback Machine is.
Because you can't hide something. You can't scrub everything.
It just rewinds the internet, basically, to whatever. So I just rewound it to when they had archived the footage on their website.
And at first we couldn't get it, but then you figured it out somehow.
It's got several snapshots, so I just tried this day, this day, this day, this day. Then finally, a day had it.
It's amazing. I heard the segment you did on this, over a month ago, and I was blown away. And I was a little pissed that I still have that dog in me where I'm like, why didn't I find that? Because oftentimes Blake does things that I'm like, I wish I would have thought of that,
Yeah, he'll do that. Well, anyway,
incredible.
So
you could have been here,
Can you
and I
put
could have
that
been
on?
in Italy.
Yeah.
Golfing.
And golfing.
That's true. We wanted to hire KT at one time. I think he might have been our first choice when we ended up being saddled with Blake, when we were at the ticket. Our first choice was KT Kevin Turner.
And you should have.
You were looking for more game shows.
I wanted more game shows. And our theory was you had left the ticket a long time ago, and then you went to work for different radio stations. And like that's kind of like you went to work in the minor or play in the minors, and then you learned the craft. And we just thought, resume-wise, you had the best resume out there. And our theory, this is Dan and Jake's theory, we would also kind of hurt the competition a little bit because we'd be stealing you away from Ben and Skin.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would bother their show. It would help our show. We'd learn that whatever secrets the other stations have, we could find those out.
Yeah.
And then, but they had a very insular, would you call it that? Like mindset?
Yeah, I think you know that one.
Management did of, no, we don't want to hire from outside the ticket. So we always thought that was a weird bit.
Yeah.
Just because I think you can, just bringing a different outside perspective can be beneficial.
There's a couple things that happen.
And then they're like, well, yeah, but we're still number one, so I guess you were wrong.
Yeah. No, true. And this guy got a chance to go, host a morning show and couldn't get a 2. And I'm a failure. I think it's a lot of that. There's a couple things that happened over the course of history there to where I did get the vibe that I just wasn't very liked. So, whatever.
The escorting probably didn't help. Like once you leave in there.
Well, I think they, sometimes when you leave there, it'll be like, oh, you're like a traitor. You're leaving us. But I was all for you leaving at the time because you were a weekend guy with no. I mean, if you were there in the last year, you'd have a very good chance for advancement.
Yeah.
As I believe all their shows have new producers in the last 12 months. But
yeah,
like there was a nice 15-year stretch where nobody could get in the door at all. And that's when you were there. And it was like, well, there's no way, there's going to be no full-time job opening for me. And even if it does, I'm one of 15 guys on the weekend. I don't know that I'll get, I'm not like the number one ranked guy. Like Jake walked around with bravado, confidence, knowing
Sure.
he was for so many years.
I remember it was opening day of 13. You guys were doing the show out there, and Bob pulled me aside and he gave me the, sent the audio over to Ben. He sent one segment, the Sports Sphinx, over to Ben and Skin, and it was like it might be an opportunity. So I got to go do full-time producer, whatever, third man,
making
bank at the Fan, and like replacing Richie and Grego, and their fans were really reasonable. And then, but also it was like I could quit my job, which I was doing stuff at an oil company, and I worked at Dick's Sporting Goods too, because you kind of had to work other jobs if you're going to work.
Did you get a discount?
Yeah, like a little, like 10%. But Dick's Sporting Goods, I'll say this, open for business. I would
Dick's Sporting Goods
business.
But they made their employees clean the bathrooms, whereas
really
my previous time in retail at the Sports Authority, rest in peace.
Love the Sports Authority.
They'd run a cleaning crew through there, and so I thought it was kind of weird. Like Dick's is kind of seen as like a higher end.
Well, that's why.
But they're making you clean the bathroom, which may be giving you the tools to be your own boss.
What was the restaurant they would treat you really bad? Was that called Dick's?
Dick's Last Resort, right by Hooters.
I never went, but yeah.
Like that was their
West
bit?
End?
Right by the Hooters, by the House of Blues.
Their bit was to be a jerk to you.
Yeah.
Did you get to meet Bobcat Goldthwait?
Yeah, was that the opening day?
It had to have been in that era.
I don't think I did meet him. But dude, I think it was that day. I really do. Because that was Josh Hamilton's first game with the Angels.
Yes.
I remember that vividly.
That's it.
And he was going to get booed, and it's not a baseball
covered the
town.
game.
Oh, my God.
And for some reason, Bobcat Goldthwait
That was
there.
Bobcat Day. Holy shit. That's
so
wild.
funny.
2013.
But anyways, we were told we couldn't hire KT.
Yeah, why did we start talking about that?
Because Blake was...
Because of OJ?
Oh, I found an OJ thing.
Yeah.
Well, I have a lot of...
Sports Princess, call us.
Yeah, Sports Princess on the show soon, right? That'll happen. I was told by various focus groups that I'm not really, likable enough or hateable enough to really garner much of a difference in anything I do. So
I would disagree with the second part of that.
I know, right? I kind of think people don't like me that much.
Yeah,
I kind of feel like that's enough of a... But I don't know. I got to learn more hot takes.
Yeah, I guess I should have noticed pretty early on that I might have a chance just based on how many people fucking hated me.
Yeah.
Do we need to do a focus group?
No.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes,
No,
we do.
The comment
We
section
fun.
is already the focus
Yeah, we already
group.
have a focus
Yeah,
group.
we
Fuck it.
we've
We
got
can't get
enough.
fired. Doubters.
But you need to
haters.
get people-
Got enough
How about we
focus.
trade?
People who
People
aren't
learned how to
listening
fall.
and aren't subscribed.
Yeah, maybe, but it feels like that would cost money.
See, Jake actually, though, doesn't pay attention to the haters because he doesn't go look online.
Because I learned
Yeah, you
from
got that from
you.
you.
I know, but I look online because I need to be fueled
Yeah.
by the haters.
Yep.
You got the tattoo of the chip.
That's what
That's
gets
right.
me going every day.
You have a ruffle on your shoulder just to remind you every day.
Success is leased, not owned, and rent is due every day.
I guess you guys are from Texas, and I
Got here as quick as you could.
No, I was
Oh.
born and raised in a place where nothing is really given.
I've heard that.
Whereas down here, I
That-
believe
I've heard
they just
that.
hand you some stuff.
Yeah.
On this day in 2007. Now, this is the day that Chris Benoit, his wife, and 7-year-old son were found dead in their Georgia home. And I'm only bringing this up because I did bring it up yesterday. It was his death anniversary. But apparently they didn't find him until the next day. I didn't know this. This is a fun note. Authorities concluded that Benoit, before killing himself, strangled his family.
Yeah.
So that's that feels like a real major, I don't know. And I guess if you're like big meathead wrestler guy, that might be the way you'd choose to do it.
Yeah, strangle is a crazy person move.
That's
passion.
That's hardcore.
Yeah, and I didn't know this until I looked it up, but he also placed Bibles near the bodies of his wife and son. But he was full on gone. And he hung himself from a lap machine.
Then he hung himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know you hate woke.
Of course. Taking all my Hooters.
How about this on this day in 2020?
Mm-hmm. They canceled Roseanne.
Well, the Dixie Chicks.
You know my
changed-
Roseanne thing?
Reset.
I have two of them. I think a Roseanne is a type of person. They're not all Roseanne, but sometimes you see someone and you're like, that's a Roseanne.
Okay, yeah.
Like a dude.
You could be a dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Marge Schott, for example, was a Roseanne.
Certainly, but yeah. I
And
gotta
also,
think-
I think that Trump would not have a chance at coming back had they not canceled Roseanne when she made some Nazi-esque remarks.
Yeah.
That pissed people. That was a kick of the hornet's nest that we did not need.
Who did you say was Roseanne?
Marge Schott?
Marge Schott?
You're not familiar?
No.
Former Reds owner?
Fan of Hitler, famously.
Okay, I think
believe.
I've seen her recently.
Well,
The only other person on the Roseanne's list is Travis Tritt.
Travis Tritt, I saw him live. And I was like, man, that guy. And he was actually kind of dressed like Roseanne, so maybe that helped.
Did you smell TROUBLE?
So you have a Roseanne list, but you didn't have anyone on it except
I just had
one?
Travis Tritt.
Okay.
Travis Tritt has
You keep up with this.
one of the most insane music videos that traumatized me as a 5-year-old. He's going out to the dock. He's in a wheelchair for whatever.
Oh, I've seen
And
it.
his wife's getting out of the boat, and
Yep.
she hits her head on the dock
We
in
can watch
slow
it.
motion.
We can-
It's
Yeah,
just,
we need to see this.
I forget
Dan,
the
you'll
name
love
of the
it.
song, but it's
Country music videos in the 90s, Dan, you have
Ridiculous.
no idea how unhinged they were.
What's the one you showed me?
Yeah.
The one I showed you was standing outside the fire.
Oh,
where,
no. No. Oh, I
Where-
hate track and field ever since.
Where a kid would.
Dude.
where a kid with Down syndrome wants to participate in track and field. He wants to participate in like a 400, but he falls down.
All right.
And he's not in the Special Olympics, to be clear. He's racing.
Okay.
You're
making it
Down
better. Go on.
And for some reason, Garth Brooks is there.
Yeah, it is odd.
All right.
And his dad's mad at him because he falls down. And he's like, "Get up, son, get up!" And he makes him finish the race.
And the dad is yelling at the Down syndrome kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who's competing against normies, and like it's rough. And I'm confident that the Special Olympics did exist at the time this video
And where's
was
Garth
created.
Brooks? Why?
He's in the crowd singing for some reason.
He's
like,
standing
with the-
outside the fire.
with the mom. Yeah, the point is like you got to get in the game. You don't want to stand outside the fire. But to KT's point, the kid definitely could have competed against other kids with Down syndrome. He just didn't.
Yeah.
The dad's
Yeah,
like,
what's the motivation?
And
Wouldn't you
fa-
love
and
to
he
talk
has
to him
a
about writing
terrible
that song?
fall.
And-
it's so bloody.
And he bleeds. Yeah,
Dad is just like mad at him. Dude, it's really rough.
God.
And the song rules.
That song does rule too. That's another good point. Anyways,
that's great.
R.I.P. to Chris Benoit's family.
So on this day in 2020, the Dixie Chicks changed their name to the Chicks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Following pressure from those who object to the word Dixie as a nostalgic nickname for the South, specifically the states from the Confederacy.
Yeah.
And then that led to someone else. Was it
Lady Antebellum?
Lady Antebellum. They just became
Lady A?
Lady A.
See, once one goes, then someone else. We're
Yep.
seeing this with pastors right now.
Yeah, it's true.
Which is weird because the Dixie Chicks came out as anti-Bush.
I wonder if
anti-George Bush.
Yeah, they lost their audience in Texas.
Yeah.
Let me specify. Anti-George W. Bush.
They weren't on the Galen Clark.
Nope.
Yeah.
But I think you think you're black.
Name a female pop group that is actually anti-Bush. Maybe a
Like we're coming up with a fake one?
No, I'm thinking of I'm trying to craft a lesbian singer.
Come back Thursday.
The Indigo Girls.
Okay.
That lesbian?
I think so.
I feel like they would have been pro.
Sounds lesbian.
Yeah.
That's right. I guess they're pro-Bush.
Yeah. I was confused as to
Okay, no, yeah. So yeah, the Dixie Chicks.
Now maybe like more modern,
Wiener.
like maybe
Kesha.
Let's do the
Pussycat
next one.
Dolls.
This
all
one
right.
is not going anywhere.
You gotta know when to cut bait. Okay, let me add this other one.
Okay.
Because on this day in 2020, so remember what this day is too. 2020. Disney says it would recast the Splash Mountain theme park ride to remove its ties to Song of the South. It's a 1946 movie that many viewed as racist. I don't know why. Now, I did think, oh, we're watching a little something that does look a bit racist.
Yeah, a bit.
I was thinking the next thing you know, they're going to be canceling Triumph of the Will. But the point here is that on this day in 2020, it's pre-election, and you say, did canceling Roseanne? Do you think all this stuff...
Yes, without a doubt.
...helped Trump get elected? Because even people who are not, you're not racist, all that kind of stuff, you are thinking, really you need to change the name Dixie Chicks? To me, that sounds silly. Why would you change your name?
I mean, he won in the 2016 election, so this stuff was all happening, and then Biden won, but still...
But even the Splash Mountain thing, I'm sure they weren't showing Uncle Remus or whoever on the ride, but it's just the name of that movie is part of this, so we should take that out. And I think just that upon this, adding all the stories of silliness. Yeah. And yes, it's the... in fact, and I remember thinking... It was ridiculous when Trump said this, because I think I came in and told you the next day when he was in a debate with Hillary, and they were like, Hillary, what's the biggest problem, that America faces today? And she was like, the Middle East and taxes and the tariffs, and just had a bunch of, politician answers. Yeah, policy answers. And then they asked him. Homelessness, poverty, all these really important things. And he's like, political correctness. You can't say anything anymore. And I thought, well, that's really weird for a presidential candidate to say that's the number one problem we're facing.
Right. And it worked.
But it worked.
We've never seen anything like it before.
Because I think even you, right, anybody on all sides were like, yeah, it is kind of.
Yeah.
There is too much political correctness.
I don't know if I would term it that way, but certainly I understood
the
anger behind it, But he's going to play that card again. Thursday night, baby.
Can't wait.
If you're late to the show, yes, things weren't all sunshine and rainbows in the early days of Superbad Radio, Hang Zone, Dumb Zone, whatever you want to call it. I don't even think I was on their radar as far as a possible producer, but somehow I was chosen over many other way more qualified candidates, and here we are. Maybe we'll go more into that story someday, and what made me leave. But for now, let's close this episode out with some debate coverage. With every angle and second of audio you need to hear, here's Jake from our Friday Patreon-only episode.
So the debate was last night, and it was a very highly anticipated TV event with current President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump.
Incredible. Just incredible. So I went in thinking, oh man, this is interesting that they're not having the crowd advantage Biden. They're cutting off mics. Advantage Biden. Just from the way the history of these things have gone.
Yeah.
Because Trump will talk over you. He'll make funny jokes over what you're saying. He'll get the crowd on his side. That's part of it. The funny joke will get the crowd on your side.
No, I'm with you.
But I don't think any of those things turned into an advantage for Biden.
As we are about to find out. It started out a little bit weird when I can't confirm this, and maybe he was just trying to be warm and welcoming, but it sure looked like when he walked out, Joe Biden was waving at no one. Maybe he was waving at Jake Tapper and Dana Bash.
Now, are you debate guy? What's your history with watching debates?
Not at all.
Okay, so it's just Trump.
Not at all. Trump has brought me to the debates a little bit. I wonder if the overall ratings would indicate the nation is mostly like me too.
I don't have that in front of me, but I can almost certainly promise you that.
And last night, I was debate guy for the first hour, and then they went to a commercial, because I didn't even think they went to commercials during debates, but they did. And I was like, I can't watch. This is too. it's just
yeah. They kind of
horribly
do it like the Masters, where they limit the breaks, but you're going to have maybe one at the bottom or top of the hour for each hour. So
Yeah.
they'd go for like 45 minutes. They would maybe have like a 4 or 5 minute break and then come back and do.
Because the way my opinion was when watching it, I'm like, boy, Trump would say some stuff. It sounds really outlandish, and I feel like he'd go into something that's like easily refutable. Just kind of one of the popular hits of everybody coming into the country, it's all rapists and criminal and it's like, well, I think I could probably easily refute that. Certainly there are probably some nefarious folks coming up, but whatever. But then Biden wouldn't respond at all, and then he wouldn't say anything I could really understand, and then it's just like, so one guy is just up there yelling, doing his usual bits, and then one guy I don't even know what he's doing at all, and he seems confused and just I don't know. I'm an outsider for sure, but I don't know, I don't know if anyone's mind was changed, like they always say, that's what you're looking for, right? The middle-of-the-road guy?
The undecided.
But I don't know that anyone's mind was changed. Your mind was changed, possibly it's in a negative way, like, I don't want that guy because of what you saw Biden. Is there anybody whose mind was changed, I don't want that guy because of what Trump did, because Trump did what he always kind of does?
I don't think so.
You've kind of seen that. So you know what I mean?
Of course. We have plenty of data. Everybody knows who he is.
Like, I kind of know who they both are. Trump kind of did his thing. I know he's blustery and
lying.
But, and some downright lies, many. But then Biden wasn't able to refute it or, like, come back at all.
Not at all. And
so it was kind of like, really? The Democrat, first of all, are the two parties, this is what we got? It's incredible. But then it's kind of like, well, they couldn't just get a guy that talks somewhat normal or just I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest question around Biden, especially the way that they don't really put him out there that much, is how is he mentally?
Mm-hmm.
At that age, the question is, like, can he keep up? And, Trump's over here, ripping Ritalin. He looks, if you go back and watch Trump like 30, 40 years ago, he did not talk or act like this. When he was New York hotshot real estate guy in the late 80s, he would kind of, he was much more normal, really. And then as the years went on, and really when The Apprentice happened, he started to get way more fiery and like kind of recreated his brand a little bit. I haven't listened to this yet, but I want to hear a little bit of this from, I'm just going to play this from Twitter before I play my audio. Because obviously Biden sounded awful for 70% of last night. Not just in speech, but also not being able to provide any refutation of anything that Trump said. But then they put him out here today. He's already done a speech in a rally. So let's listen.
Let me close with this. I know I'm not a young man. Take the obvious. Well, I know.
He already sounds better. There was like a skip in the audio. Let's see.
As I used to. But I know what I do know. I know how to tell the truth.
He sounds 1,000% better.
I know what it'll take to bring this economy to everybody.
This audio is skippy, but he does sound way better, right?
Yeah, even last night, that phrase, it would have been like,
yeah,
I know what it
it
takes
probably would
to make
yeah.
the economy better.
Because for me, it
Like
took
it's-
about 2 minutes after this started to be like, oh no.
What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
We got to take a look at what I was left when I became president and what Mr. Trump left me. We had an economy that was in free fall. Pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach into your arm.
I was happy he brought that banger back. When Trump's up there like, I don't know, you spray cleaning solution on a counter, it cleans that one. You just inject some of that shit in your arm, see if it'll clean you up. Fast forward a little bit here.
We created 15,000 new jobs. We brought out the position where we have 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. But there's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come of household.
Okay, so this is his beginning. So
Yeah.
he shouldn't be tired yet. His voice just sounds, it's not just that he's slurring. He's always had a lifelong stutter, but it's worse. cognitively it was trouble. But the campaign said, oh, he had a cold afterward when asked about it. Does he not have it today?
Yeah.
No,
that audio
weird.
sounds way different. And then you do wonder, as you get older, like, are you different in the evening as you are
Sundowning?
in the day? Yeah, and then, but then I heard allegations or rumors like, oh, the reason they're holding him up for a week prepping for this is to like adjust his sleep schedule so he's a little more awake.
Yeah.
And, like whatever, okay, whatever they did.
It's like a child.
yeah.
School's about to start.
You need to get to bed early.
Start a week early.
President Biden, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to this question about the national debt.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period, number one. Number two, that $2 trillion tax cut benefited the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. Billionaires in America.
He does that a lot in this.
See, that's, correcting what I said 2 seconds ago happened 100 times.
Yeah.
What I saw.
And it's funny when he said we got 1,000 trillionaires. There's so many times that Trump actually says something that sounds like what my 5-year-old would say. But Biden did it a lot last night. She's like, there's 1,000 trillion billion.
And then he gets into the math. Like, if we just tax them 29%, then we'll make 800 million.
Which is not a great debate. All you just say is, hey, I think people at the very top of the economy don't pay enough. They don't pay their fair share. They skirt the tax code. They pay a lower effective tax rate. If we fix that and they paid what you, America, pay at home, then we'd have money to pay for all this stuff. But he's like, there's $1 trillion.
See, again, that's where I thought you could just easily refute some things or just have someone that can coherently talk.
Yeah.
And you would be able to quickly say that. Trump, despite people saying, or, the label of he's not a politician, he's an outsider, is a fantastic politician as far as that stuff's concerned.
Stay on message.
He boils stuff down to just one thing, and he pounds it, and he's asked something different, and he goes back to that.
Last night it was the border and illegal immigration. Like, he's asked a question about the environment, and he's like, do you see all these brown people? This is crazy.
Yeah.
This is by far the worst moment of the night for Biden from that same clip.
Make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our health care system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look.
Whoa.
If we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
Okay, so note there, when he gets lost, he runs out of time. So he didn't intend to just say, we finally beat Medicare. He was going to say a tax on Medicare or something like that. And he got
everything mixed up. He lost his place, and then that's the point.
Yeah. So
and right there,
you knew.
And that's a big meme too with Trump. And is looking at him, looking over at him.
Yeah, but
you know what was a really funny meme? I don't know if you had the audio. It's not a meme. Well, I guess it is a meme. It's just a short clip. Just watching Trump's facial expressions.
Oh, yeah, I've got that.
Do you know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah, when he's talking about Stormy Daniels and Trump's like straight-faced and he says Stormy Daniels and Trump kind of remembers it and he's like, yeah, that was awesome.
But then he says, you slept with a porn star, and he shakes his head no, and he goes, while your wife was pregnant, and he kind of gave the shrug, and then nodded.
Oh, that time.
Yeah.
Everything we have to do with, look.
But that audio sounds a little weird.
I know. I don't know what's going on with it.
We finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
He's right. He did beat Medicaid, beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in.
I don't know why it's doing that. I did it normal. And I could see the waveforms or whatever, but this is the first time Trump really decided he was going to mock him.
There are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. That's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we had the same
I thought Trump laid off him.
Yeah,
because I thought a lot of the night Trump could have done something like that. Like, what did he just say?
Yeah.
And that one was, look, he's a master of the zinger, of the, of kind of like a stream of consciousness type stuff. And it was kind of clear, like Biden was, he knows his stuff, but he wasn't able to quickly access it.
Sure.
Whereas Trump probably doesn't have as much depth in the stuff that he knows he needs to access because he's got his main talking points, but he's also a little funnier. Like, he's naturally a funny guy.
Mm-hmm.
He is.
I agree.
He knows the beats. He gets humor. He's able to deliver a zinger on the fly, whereas I think Biden would not be able to do that unless he might not even be able to do it if it was well rehearsed.
Yeah, and at the end of that clip there, I knew what he said because I knew what he was talking about, but trying to say asylum officers when you're having the night that you're having, probably going to be swerving right into a ditch.
More Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look,
I always love the Trump. Like when he finishes a sentence, he does a
look.
They got into a pissing match over the World War I memorial. That was pretty interesting.
What was that?
The suckers and losers?
Yeah, I don't play.
And it's a very sad day in America.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every single one. For example, veterans are a hell of a lot better off since I passed the PACT Act. 1 million of them now have insurance, and their families have it. Their families have it because what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now. And his group opposed that. We're also in a situation where we have great respect for veterans. My son spent a year in Iraq, living next to one of those burn pits, came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. I was recently in France for D-Day, and I spoke all about those heroes that died. I went to the World War I cemetery he refused to go to. He was standing with his 4-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
President Trump?
First of all, that was a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines.
I love that he had to get a shot at the media in there. And as I said to someone this morning, it's really easy to imagine him saying suckers and losers about soldiers because we have video of him saying about John McCain, yeah, I'd prefer my heroes not get captured.
Yeah.
It's exactly the sort of thing he would say.
Yeah.
But you could probably play that John McCain video for him and be like, I didn't say that.
I think the thing about Biden too is I don't think anybody was voting for Biden for president.
No, I'm not a fan.
I think they were voting for not Trump.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not Trump and just generally better down ballot.
Like if Biden had gotten
for
beat by Trump in 2016 and Hillary ran in 2020, I think Hillary could win.
Perhaps.
I don't know, because a lot of the blame has gone just to Hillary and really hasn't, no one has, it doesn't seem like Trump has gotten a lot of credit for winning that first time. It's that he ran against Hillary.
Yeah.
And they were both, it was like some people's least objectionable fare or something. Where I don't know if that's accurate. I think Trump might have won anyway. And Hillary, though, has been vilified as, well, you lost to Trump. We couldn't put you out there again. And then Biden beat Trump. But did Biden beat Trump? Because no one was ever stoked on Biden.
No, not in a very long time.
And he just was the guy that they thought could, whatever, the machine. And look, I'm saying all this stuff speaking out of my ass. I have zero idea what I'm talking about. So you got the political science degree. I don't know, but it just felt like I didn't vote for Biden. Like I voted.
I won't be this time, but I will be.
Yeah.
Here he went with one of
like
his.
When people are like, "Oh, you like your boy Biden, Joe's boy or Jake's boy Biden," Like, I don't know that that's Jake's boy. I just think he's, not Trump.
This is where we got a Joey B catchphrase.
That's why you had no terror at all during my administration.
By the way, that's an awesome claim. They talk about terrorism, and he's like, look around. I mean, we didn't have 9/11, but we haven't had 9/11 in like 23 years, so a lot of people... No terror.
That's why you had no terror at all during my administration. This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
President Biden? I've never heard so much malarkey in my whole life.
Let me relate to the kids here.
Yeah, you want to age yourself there.
Malarkey.
Poppycock.
This is all about Ukraine, and of course, Trump wants to talk about Hunter, his son, and Biden wants to talk about Stormy.
The idea that I did anything wrong relative to what you're talking about is outrageous. It's simply a lie, number one. Number two, the idea that you have a right to seek retribution against any American.
Oh, that's important. Trump very seriously or heavily implied, hey, if I get elected, a bunch of y'all are fucked. Because first term Trump was like, this guy's wheels off, but everybody was mad, but, we stayed out of foreign wars. I don't know. We got the COVID vaccine. I can't stand the guy, but it was relatively calm from a policy standpoint. Everybody was just pissed off. Wait till now if he wins. When he's been sued 1 million times and he's had to go to court 1 million times and he's just pissed off, he started implying like, hey, there are a lot of people that are going to have to pay for what they've done to me.
Mm-hmm. The idea that you have a right to seek retribution against any American just because you're president is wrong. It's simply wrong. No president's ever spoken like that before. No president in our history has spoken like that before. Number three, the crimes that you are still charged with. And think of all the civil penalties you have. How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant? I mean, what are you talking about? You have the morals of an alley cat.
Give your minute, sir.
I didn't have sex with a porn star, number one.
I also don't know the morals of an alley cat. Maybe.
That's not
it
that.
It feels very 1950s Disney movie.
If not before that, yeah. But how many debates in the past have they had to deny having sex with a porn star?
I bet you could go through the Library of Congress and it would be very few. This made me perk up.
Is that a dream too? Sex with a porn star? That's like I got to hit off of
yeah, there's a huge swath of America
Justin
that's
Verlander
like,
or something.
Okay.
Like, that sounds awesome.
This one made me perk up for Dan.
I got to play golf with Tiger.
They're talking about Charlottesville and the protest there, of course, where there was a woman who was killed and people coming out of the woods with swastikas and the tiki torches.
Could you ever think you heard any president say that I'm going to seek retribution? Do you ever hear any president say that I thought Hitler had some good ideas? What got me involved to run in the first place after my son had died, I decided in Iraq, because of Iraq, I said I wasn't going to run again until I saw what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia. People coming out of the woods carrying swastikas on torches, and singing the same anti-Semitic bile they sang when back in Germany. And the young woman got killed. They spoke to the mother, and they asked him. They said, "What do you think of those people? The people the ones who got killed, the one who tried to stop it, and the ones," he said, "I think they're fine people on both sides."
Yeah, and when Trump answered, he didn't address the Hitler had some good ideas thing at all. He just addressed the fine people on both sides. And my thought on my couch, easy to say, was like, when you get your time back, hit him back with the Hitler good idea thing and be like, I just want to press you on that. What were the good ideas? Mm-hmm. Make him answer that part. Because he would have been in a pickle right there, because he did say it. And if he would have said, I never said that, that's a campaign ad. But you might have made him say, there were great highways or something that really would have looked bad.
Yeah.
But Biden had no capacity
to
return serve right there. So Trump just never had to address it. This is some economic minutia, but I like the way that Trump talks about minority groups, because you can tell he hasn't spent a whole lot of time in his life around people who aren't white, and he doesn't really nail the vernacular.
He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people.
First of all, on the black people.
On the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now, and it could be 18.
Okay, so the implication there is that, like, they're letting these, scallywags from Latin America cross the border, and they're taking black jobs, implying that the black jobs are the ones,
the low-level jobs. Yes.
Yeah. Don't try to get into the corporate
You're not
office up here.
They're getting jobs at Google.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
I
don't know that Sergio is going to be, up at Merrill Lynch.
Okay,
on his second week here.
I didn't see this. This must have been in the second half last night, but I did see a meme this morning.
I bet I know the one.
Was it like Luka and Jokic?
Yeah. It's like when Trump speaks of the immigrants that are stealing black jobs. Yes,
it could be 19 and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
Thank you. President Biden?
There was no inflation when I became president. You know why? The economy was flat on its back.
Yeah, boring. His whole play, we know this. Anything they ask him about, it was the best ever. Anything.
It's incredible.
So he's talking about these opportunity zones, which can help economic development in urban areas, which was a senator's idea, and he makes this claim.
He came to me with the idea, and it was a great idea. It's one of the most successful economic development acts ever in the country.
Ever.
Opportunity zones. And the biggest beneficiary are blacks. And that's why.
Even that, you either say African Americans, you say minorities, you say people of color. There's a way to say black people.
Yeah,
but you don't go, the black people.
It's not like that's going to
No, it's
hurt.
just funny.
Yeah,
it's just
funny.
If I heard
It's
a
funny.
regular person just say, like, the blacks.
And the biggest beneficiary are blacks. And that's why we have the best numbers with them in maybe ever. They're saying ever. I read this morning where ever, the best numbers. He's lost much of the black population.
He claims to be doing the best with
But I believe
the black population.
I mean, some of it works. The projection of if
sure.
you keep saying this is the best, then somebody's going to say, well, I heard that, and it's probably true.
So probably half a dozen times they would ask Trump a question, and he would just not answer it, but there would still be time left on the clock for him. So they would ask him about inflation, and he would answer about immigration. And they would follow up and say, but what is your plan regarding inflation? They would ask him about healthcare, and he would not answer it. He would talk about immigration, and then they would follow up and say, again, Mr. Trump, the question was about healthcare. And he would try to weave it all together. And this is the second time they asked him about climate change specifically. They didn't mention Green New Deal or anything. They just said climate change. The planet's warming. We're at a point of no return or near the point of no return. This is the second time. I think she addresses that.
President Trump, will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
So I want absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air, and we had it. We had H2O. We had the best numbers ever, and we were using all forms of energy, all forms, everything. And yet, during my 4 years, I had the best environmental numbers ever. And my top environmental people gave me that statistic just before I walked on the stage, actually.
He wants the best.
What does that even mean?
The air did get better right after COVID. Planes were grounded. Monkeys were taking over cities.
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I mean, there's a lot of stuff from his term that you have to take into account with COVID. I would even say from Biden saying, hey, unemployment was at 18%. Well, yeah. I mean, yes. So if you look at some of the economic growth under Biden, well, yeah.
But see, Trump's brilliance is, though, he's not citing statistics. He's not doing math.
Right.
He's just saying it was the best ever, and that's it. Where Biden then, with Biden's current mind, is sitting there trying to remember exact stats to refute some certain things, and then he gets lost, and it goes nowhere. Like, Trump is clearly the better politician.
Yeah. And TC pointed out to me that actually water quality in the United States has gotten better pretty much linearly since, I believe, Nixon passed the maybe Clean Air and Water Act.
H2O.
So if it's getting better, we had H2O. If it's getting better every year,
He technically did leave it at its
yeah,
best.
even if the growth slowed down during his time because of some of the repealing of regulations, that's technically true. It just doesn't really mean he did a good job.
But then Biden can say it's the best it's ever been now.
Yeah, and they did that a couple times where they'd say, you had the biggest deficit, and now you have the biggest deficit. It's just, it's all semantics.
But again, where his boastfulness and all that, I think it really works for him, is even when he was president, if the stock market was good, he would always talk about it. And then I would look and be like, oh, yeah, it is pretty good. And then it's been really good with Biden. But I never hear that. And I guess because you never hear Biden.
Yeah, but you could hear more from people, I guess.
But you just
probably
never
need to hear it
really,
from
no
him.
one's pounding it over and over and over again. But it actually is like, great. It's better than it was. And if Trump was in charge now, you would be hearing all about that.
Here's just another example of him ducking a question and another crazy was the best claim.
President Trump, the question was about what would you do to make child care more affordable, if you want to take your minute.
Just so you understand, we have polling, we have other things that they rate him the worst because what he's done is so bad. And they rate me, I'll show you, I will show you, and they rate me one of the best.
Who is that?
Biden.
Oh.
So this is the second time they've tried to get him to answer the child care question. Obviously, he's not gonna.
Yeah.
And he says they're debating over, Biden kept citing there were 169 constitutional scholars or presidential scholars who conducted a study. They all voted. They all, however they did it, who rated him the worst president of all time. And, of course, Trump says, I was the best. You were actually the worst. And so you can hear Biden going, show me. And I will show you.
President Trump, the question was about what would you do to make child care more affordable, if you want to take your minute.
Just so you understand, we have polling, we have other things. That they rate him the worst because what he's done is so bad. And they rate me, I'll show you, I will show you, and they rate me one of the best, okay? And if I'm given another 4 years, I will be the best. I think I'll be the best.
All right.
So, little kid.
One more funny, quick one here, and then we'll have our big ender. Do you remember the name of Shane Gillis's most recent special, the one we quote all the time?
No.
Beautiful Dogs. What? You know what this is?
Tires.
Oh, Tires is the Netflix show, yeah. But Beautiful Dogs is the name of the one where, and he talks about how Trump would say that he would say that, like, you go to the military and and you see these dogs, these beautiful dogs. So I perked up big time when I heard this. They're talking about the border crisis, shocker, and fentanyl, because they're talking about the opioid crisis in America.
So, President Trump, you have 67 seconds left. The question was, what are you going to do to help Americans in the throes
How many of those are
there? There's probably 4, but
okay.
The longer the night went on, the more specific the questions got, and that's when he just has nothing. Like at the beginning, what do you say to people who are upset with him, happy with him, upset with you?
That's general enough, yeah.
Yes, but once they start asking specific questions, they kept having to do that.
About the child care tax.
Yeah, child care, climate change, and now the border and the opioid crisis.
So, President Trump, you have 67 seconds left. The question was, what are you going to do to help Americans in the throes of addiction right now who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
Jake, we were doing very well at addiction until the COVID came along. We had the 2.5, almost 3 years of like nobody's ever had before, any country, in every way. And then we had to get tough. And it was the drugs pouring across the border it started to increase. We got great equipment. We bought the certain dog. That's the most incredible thing that you've ever seen, the way they can spot it.
We bought the certain dog.
That's certain dog.
Which is the most incredible thing.
Spots the drug. It sounds like, I mean, you'll play 5 cuts that all sound the exact same.
Hey,
really, can you answer this question? And
like,
it's
Mexicans.
No, but whatever it is, that was the best. Man, we had it. It was the greatest. Then COVID hit, and then it was so awesome before then. It'll be better next time.
Yeah, that's
his
kind
of the theme of everything.
For sure. So this last one, go ahead, Blake. I thought you were going to say something. This last one's 2 minutes long, but we really have to play the whole thing. We could stop and start it if you want because it's fantastic.
What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one, a real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it.
That's the television, woman, man.
Oh, yeah,
elephant.
dog, woman, person. Yeah.
Say that's amazing.
Yeah.
Aced it.
Aced them both.
Give him the easy one.
Because they'd already asked Biden, and he went through and was like, "Hey, you just look at what I've done." And Trump's just like, "Look at him. Who cares what he's done?"
Yeah.
Like go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way. And I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards.
All right, wait a second. All right, back it up.
Yeah.
You have to be quite smart to win a club championship?
Maybe
I'm not familiar with the club championship.
Course management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They always talk about how it's harder
a
as you
mental game.
age to just have the mental focus for 6 hours.
Okay, but if it's his club, is this a little Kim Jong-un action on your golf score?
Yeah,
or?
of course. Yeah, he's not winning anything.
And it's Dustin Johnson on his team where they're not using any of Trump's shots.
Yeah. Yes.
That's a good call. So
Best ball?
There you go.
No, scramble.
Quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a
And
long
what was the
way.
scoring system?
And I do it.
Stay
He
there.
doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably a little bit lighter, but I'm in as good a shape as I was years ago. I feel very good. I feel the same. But I was willing to take a cognitive test. And you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced him. Dr. Ronnie Jackson, who's a great guy when he was White House doctor. And then I took another one, a similar one.
Do you know who Ronnie Jackson is?
There's Kempspins on that guy, right?
Yeah, for sure. I believe he was a Texas politician, but yeah, he got in trouble for some situations with workplace, with the ladies and alcohol use at the office and the workplace, and Jerry's secret daughter interned for him. Yeah.
Man, it's all connected.
Yeah.
Kempspin.
Yeah. That's probably on there, though.
A great guy when he was White House doctor. And then I took another one, a similar one. And one of them said they've never seen anybody ace him.
Thank you. President Biden?
You can see he is 6'5" and only 223 pounds.
Do you remember whenever Trump put out like a medical report and had him listed that he was like 6'5", 225?
It was like Tom Brady's.
Yeah, it was several
physical
NBA
stats.
players.
Yeah, then memes would be that athlete next
Like
to.
I'm 6'4", 200.
Yeah.
Does he look like he's an inch taller but just 20 pounds more than me, 25 pounds more than me?
Yeah.
You can see he is 6'5" and only 223 pounds, or 235 pounds.
But that's the problem, is he had a zinger, and it
Can't get it.
involved numbers.
And then his tongue is mixed
you
up
can
with
see
his
he
lips.
is 6'5" and only 223 pounds, or 235 pounds.
Like it's in his head.
6'4", 200. Well, anyway, that's what anyway, just take a look at what he says he is, and take a look at what he is. Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. The reason I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6.
What are we doing here?
Well, Trump.
We're now.
Look, Trump
mine
said.
is bigger.
Trump said he can't hit a ball 50 yards.
So now
And
I got.
Biden's
Now
like,
we're gonna.
actually.
Wait, these are fighting words. Like all the other stuff that he threw out, he wasn't refuting.
No. But now he's like,
wait. You could.
I worked really hard on my game.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're okay. This is insane.
Anyway, that's what you're. Anyway, just take a look at what he says he is, and take a look at what he is. Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. The reason I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. But by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf with you if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
Okay.
I don't think he's the one that should be challenging that. Like, there's no way that Joe Biden could carry his own bag from the tee box to the. Yeah.
I do think Biden is somehow physically in better shape than Trump.
Okay.
Just the fact that we saw him ride a bike. Now, it didn't go well.
No. Well, they didn't show us the part that went well.
Right.
He
was popping wheelies.
84 miles before that, yeah.
That was like 10 years ago.
Didn't the debate end up with them doing a push-up contest?
I wouldn't have been surprised.
Think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie that he's a 6
handicap. I knew it.
I was an 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8.
Never.
But I have
Never.
I've
seen you swing. I know you swing.
Let's
not act like children.
President Trump, we're going to
Let's not act like children.
to a specific concern.
So now
is Trump saying let's not act like children?
Yeah. He brings it, and he's the one doing it.
This is
great.
great.
I've seen your swing. No, you haven't. Let's not act like children.
He's a 6 handicap of all.
I was an 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8.
Yeah.
Never.
But I have. You know how many?
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
Okay,
let's not act like children.
President Trump, we're going to
Let's not act like children.
You
to
are
a
child.
specific concern.
Wait, what did he say? You are a child?
Yeah. Yep.
What was he going to say? 21 rounds?
Who freaking knows, man? That's
I don't know if this is real.
That's where we're headed.
Do you want to see a video I just see on Twitter that says Trump talking trash about Biden's swing on the course this morning?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
This could be fake. Trump is like just teeing off here wearing a "Make America Great Again" hat.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It'll never be George W. Bush. Never.
Can you believe that just happened? Like that was last night?
That was
arguing about the golf swing and the handicap
and long drive and yeah. And that's when they both really got, as you said, both really got fired up.
Yeah, they both. And then, the time Biden is actually coming out with some ammunition. I'd like to see you carry your clubs. I don't think that's the one you want to challenge him to, but maybe you're right.
Thank you for sticking with us for the whole ride. Got a lot of good submissions for names. Weekly audio review, War is good. Could call it War Games on Saturdays. I like Dumb Zone Download a lot, probably because of the alliteration. Dumb Zone Double Play is also good. Not totally sure yet. Something will stick. But for now, just thank you for listening. Hope to see some of you Monday at our remote. In the meantime, call me, 903-865-DUMB. Until then, we'll talk soon.